shit. Are our names in the right spots? I know we're already live, and I'm like, our names in the right... That was a good time to ask that question. Yeah. And we're live again, Ultra Podcast Z, episode 113. It's amazing. I know, like you guys are joining an illustrious show. I didn't even realize that. Like, you know, we've been doing this for like 3 years, 113 episodes, and this is our third Halloween season, and we're right in the middle of it. Yeah, we're doing Halloween tier list. But anyways, get some introductions out of the way first. As always, I'm Manuel, leader of AJ Connections, and not as always, like as in joining us all the time, but joining us this week is Molly. Go and introduce yourself. See if you're crackly or not.
I'm Molly.
She's crackly.
I switched the fire wire, or I am.
The RAM.
Well, it's better for me now because I switched the axe, so I'm wired my internet, and I switched which Thunder port it was in. It's in the better one now. I'm Molly. I washed my hair yesterday, about 24 hours ago, and it's still slightly wet.
Wait, 24 hours ago? I know.
Oh no, my hair does the same thing.
It's funny because I'm starting to get long hair because I haven't cut it because of the pandemic, and I'm just realizing how obnoxious it is. Like every so often, I'll see hair blowing I feel hair blowing in my face, and like I've started to use these earphones as a headband.
Manuel messaged me like, you sometimes just like get your hair like in your food, and I'm like, yes, I'll
no,
like,
exactly. It's horrible. And like I have this table like right next to my computer where like, you know, all like my stuff is there, and there'll be hair on it every so often, like not like big wads of hair, but I have to clean hair every so often. When I dust the table off and clean the table off, there's hair, and I'm like, why is there hair like places now? Am I going bald?
It's big wad. Every time I brush my hair, it's like an entire head of hair falls out because I have so much goddamn hair. So it's like when I shed, it's just so much hair comes out.
It's scary. Anyway, that's the hair talk.
I have that Jewish hair, that Jewish curl hair that's thick and just it goes everywhere. The only reason it's like still slightly damp, which is why it's not movie right now. Anyways, I am also with A to J. I do a lot of the panels. I'm eating food right now. Please forgive me. I woke up 2 hours ago.
I mean, I woke up like 3 or 4 hours ago, barely. So joining us tonight, we have a couple of special guests. First of all, we have Jade.
Hello. I'm Jade. I'm a voice actor, and I'm also on TikTok a lot, if you follow Jade and Jinx, where I pretend to be a Hogwarts professor, so that's always fun.
Oh, shoot.
And I'm a big horror fan.
Nice.
Me and Jade just watched, We just watched a spoopy movie together, but like real spoopy, not spoopy.
Yeah.
We watched Scooby-Doo and the Zombie Island.
Yes, the best Scooby-Doo movie ever, by the way, with the like most awesome Halloween song.
Oh my god.
We can agree to disagree on that one, but.
And also joining us tonight, we have Geoff.
How's it going, guys? My name's Geoff. I'm a studio manager and audio engineer and a amateur competitive strongman.
Oh wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he posts videos all the time where he's just like, casually, I just lifted like 500 pounds. I'm like, okay, Geoff.
It's like, yeah, I just lift this, it's fine.
Do you even lift, bro? Well, anyway.
Yeah, super name drop. I introduced my buddy who's the world's strongest man to everybody that I could at the My Hero movie event that happened in February, and that was the weirdest thing in the world.
Oh shit.
Like,
he's the strongest man in the world?
Yeah, he's the reigning world's strongest man, and I introduced him to Justin Briner, and the height difference is like this, like at least 1.5 feet, and that was real funny because Martins was more happy to see Justin than Justin was to see Martins.
Well, I didn't know we have a celebrity on our ranks today. So today we're looking at horror movies. It's funny because I was commenting on Jeff's like the spelling his name of his name earlier before we got started, and in my head I was like, too bad it's not spelled the other way, because you could be like, you know, you could be a creepypasta. You could be Jeff the Killer, the worst creepypasta that exists. Basically.
Wait, what?
Jeff the Killer, the one who got like acid thrown on him or something. I forget his whole story. It's a really bad.
I don't know that one. I know the Vine that's like the my name's Jeff. I know that.
Oh God, don't that Vine. We're not doing Vines today.
I've heard so many renditions of Jeff the Killer. I know that people have made like 1,000 like Jeff the Killer EXE or whatever.
Yeah. So tonight we're gonna do ranking some horror movies. Actually, I'll move to that screen right now because it's always a little laggy to transition to it. So it'll probably take like a
Manuel.
What?
Manuel, I just thought of one we should have put on there. Easy Butcher.
Oh, it's actually funny you mentioned that. I was gonna add it as a joke, but last week, and I'll say this now. Last week we did a ranking on Halloween costumes, and that one actually took a lot longer than we anticipated, mainly because that was so abstract. It's like movies, the movies, but a costume is like vampire. It's like, it's so much harder to rank it. But my point to bring up the BC Butcher thing is at the end of that one, we decided to rank one of our peoples who was like doing the rankings. Her name's Ren, and she used to be a scare actor at like a Six Flags theme park in Georgia, and we had her costumes there, and we couldn't rank them, and we ended up wasting like so many minutes just deciding on how to rank them, and we ended up not even ranking them. So I just didn't want a similar issue with the BC Butcher thing that we're trying to wrap it up, and we just spent F.
For those, I don't know, Jeff and Jade, you might know this, but I'm in a B horror film called BC Butcher. That's what we're talking about. Manuel came with me to the premiere of it. It's really not good.
Actually, I have them back there.
Like, it was a lot of fun, but it's like, we know it's not a good movie.
Exactly.
Hey, I love me some B horror films, so I'm sure it would be a fun time anyway.
It's like,
oh my God,
like B horror. It's a trauma film, if you know trauma.
Oh my God,
so.
Yes.
Hold on, I need a little. What is this?
Have you ever seen Toxic Avenger?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's under that production. It's that production company.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
All their movies have a distinct.
Awesome.
They're just they didn't actually produce.
Well, they're a distributor as well, but still, like they still distribute like. There's still a trauma thing going on,
Movie.
Yeah.
I think the first film I ever saw from them was like Attack of the Redneck Zombies or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
It was
where
like the dude like was on an acid trip and he's like picking up like innards of a zombie. He's like a shoe. It was the funniest thing.
I did not put the fog on.
Manuel worked for trauma for a little bit.
Yeah, we were not supposed to talk about that, but there you go. You already said it. But yeah, I mean we're not supposed to. But
oh, I'm not supposed to. Oh.
No, I mean we're not supposed to. It's just like there's time. I've said it before, but there's a time and a place.
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
But first of all, we're doing a tier thingy, S through F. Now this is gonna be a little hard because a lot of these are classic horror movies. But I'll tell you right now that I have some strong opinions on some of the classics. So there's still gonna be some Fs in here, at least for me. I'm just letting you know that.
This, then.
Now there is a bit of separation between them, like in terms of like categories. The first set we're doing that's already laid out right there. Don't worry, we'll get them bigger as we talk about each one. The first set here is pre-1980s. And then we're going to move on to the 80s and 90s. And then we're going to move on to the 2000s. And fun fact, I think there's one extra one in this one, the pre-80s, but they're all even. And I did not intend for that. It was when I was ranking them, like, oh shit, like, because I didn't want to put Insidious, I'm already kind of killing the list, but I didn't want to put Insidious on the list. I just don't like that movie. But I ultimately put it in because it's on all, I'm already giving away my opinions on it, but I put it in because I'm like, we only needed one more in the 2000s to make them all even. So Insidious has made the list after all, even though I did not want to put it in.
Well, I feel like Insidious was like a big one, like a lot of people know
I mean,
it, and that was my thing.
It's
I
a franchise. Yeah, it's a franchise. It involves
just
the people from Saw.
For everyone that's watching, obviously there are so many horror movies out there. There are a lot of horror movies that are really good that are not on this list. But we tried to kind of keep it to ones that are like either had like a cultural impact or just are like everyone knows them even if they don't like horror movies. Like you've heard of The Exorcist even if you've never seen it. You know what I mean? So we tried to kind of keep it with that.
Yeah. Also, I did not know that Leslie was in a movie called Cold Lace Monster. I've never heard of that. And I don't think she's ever mentioned that before. And now I need to go see that movie. But anyway.
I don't know that either.
So let's just kind of jump into it. Like Molly said, there's a lot of things there's a lot of things knowingly missing here, and it just, we did the best we could. The list actually took a lot longer to write than the Halloween costume one took. Like I spent pretty much the entirety of like yesterday and like yesterday night like finishing it up, but I'd been working on it since like last week sometime, and yeah, and I read a bunch of like, ooh, greatest movies of all time, greatest movies of the 60s, greatest movies of the 70s. Also, there's like an accidental cutoff date where there's nothing before the 60s. Like, that wasn't really intentional, but you're not going to see Dracula, you're not going to see like, well, the original Dracula, like Bela Lugosi.
Nosferatu!
Yeah, you're not going to see anything like that here, so, I mean, I've seen those, but we're not going there. We're not going there. Nothing too old.
I don't think I've ever seen any of the super old ones.
I mean,
although I read something that said that like vampire movies and werewolf movies and that type of thing can be argued that they're not really horror and that they're more dark fantasy.
I mean, we'll get
That's when I was looking at Pan's Labyrinth. I went on a rabbit hole.
Molly's. So anyways, first movie we're going, and they're somewhat alphabetical in each section just because that's the way, the computer organized them for me, so I just kept it. So the first movie we're going with is Alien, and it's from 1979. Not gonna lie, I did not know it came from the 70s, even though it barely came there. But yeah, Alien. And we're talking about the first Alien, not Aliens, and not anything else. Also, this is the perfect time to say this. Technically, we're ranking the franchise if it's a franchise, or we're not. We'll decide it on a case-by-case basis, so fight us, I don't know. But yeah, in this case, I think it's fair to say, I think it's fair to say that the first Alien is the only one that's a true horror movie. So yeah, because after that they become more action. They become like Terminator, some shit like that. So yeah, Alien.
Yeah, that's why when you first put Alien on there, I was even thinking, I was like, is that even really a horror movie? Like,
the first one is. The first one's almost like a slasher, like sorta. It's good. I love Alien. So
well, I guess Aliens in general, it's like sci-fi horror. It's sci-fi horror.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll break the ice. I'm gonna give this a B, and only because I always felt that, and everyone's gonna hate me for this, but I always felt that the second half, where like Sigourney Weaver's kind of like by herself, like doing her whole thing, was the weakest part of the movie. It reminded me of a lot of, and it happened too early. I don't know. I would have liked a bit more of a survivor aspect, where there were a lot of people fighting the alien, a lot of people like ended up surviving, but I don't know. That's my opinion. So I'm going to give it a B, just on the fact that I thought the second half wasn't as good as the first. And Jeff, what are your opinions on Alien?
I would have to kind of agree in the B range. I was going to go for an A or a B, just because at the time, with something like that, it's definitely more of a... Like, when I first heard of the Alien series, or even just for the movie Alien, like, it kind of transcended different things for movies with me. So I have a different attachment to the movie than maybe I should now. Like, it's kept with me as a kid, from when I was a kid. I like the setup. I like how it all progressed. I do kind of like how it dwindled down to basically her.
We have like the exact opposite. Yeah.
Well, no, it's like I agree. It would have been great if it would have been like a fight against a group of people, but having, at least for me, kind of growing up with a divorced parents, and I stayed with my mom, like and then going back and seeing that, I'm just like, while my mom never like attacked or hurt anybody like that, like there was that perseverance because it was like immigrant family thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciated. And also, I love practical effects, and just seeing all those practical effects, I'm just like, man, this is like real messed up, and I'm hiding behind like a pillow fort, and I'm 20, but this is awesome.
So, what about you, Jade? What do you? So we're at two B's.
Like, honestly, like, yeah, I agree with you and Jeff. Also, I agree it's a bit more B for me. Also, just because my exposure to it, like, I was really young, and I remember never being afraid of the alien. I was more afraid of E.T. than I was afraid of the alien in Alien. like E.T. freaked me the hell out when I was a kid. So like seeing the alien in Alien, I'm just like, that's cool. So, but yeah, I'm also on team practical effects, where it's just like they managed to pull all this stuff together just by stuff that's already there, not stuff that they're manufacturing in there.
Yeah.
So I definitely I agree. Maybe like there could have been more of a survivor effect in Alien, but overall, I don't really mind Sigourney Weaver being the final person.
So you agree with the B ranking so far?
Yeah, I agree with the B. Yeah.
Molly, what's your? You agree with the B? You could be a dissenting voice.
So this is something that's probably going to happen. This is going to happen a lot with the classics that we're talking about, or like the older movies that we talk about.
You haven't watched it.
I think that any time a movie has
never mind. Keep going.
No, but yeah, there are definitely some on this list that I have not seen or have only seen part of. Like, I haven't seen all of Alien, I'm not gonna lie, but I have seen parts of it. I've seen enough to be able to like make an opinion. And I think any movie that like has such an impact that like, once again, like people that have never seen it still like know of the trope of like an alien bursting out of someone. I haven't in this one right. Yeah. And like people know about that, and like it's transcended that, and it's become like a cultural, almost like a cultural meme. And also, fun fact, I read something about how like in the script, apparently the only person that knew the alien was going to burst out of him was the actor. None of the other actors knew.
Oh yeah.
That's actually like the real. All it said in the script was "it emerges." So that is the real reaction of all those actors.
That's right. I did remember.
They are actually freaking out. It was on cracks.com where I read it. It was like there's a whole list of different mostly horror movies where like there were certain things that like directors didn't tell the actors. There's a lot of them, especially with Blair Witch. That's a whole.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole podcast just on the directions of that.
Productions.
Where it's like they really were getting like the real reactions out of those actors because they didn't know that there was going to be an alien popping out of someone's stomach.
What do you give it?
I think there was a parody movie.
This movie was also spoofed in Spaceballs, and I love Spaceballs.
That's what it was. Because didn't John Hurt actually come back to play the same guy?
And I watched Spaceballs first.
Yeah,
funny enough.
I didn't realize.
And then he starts doing that. He starts doing like the dancing frog thing from Looney Tunes. Hello, baby. Hello, my heart. Yeah.
Because I think John's character goes, "Not again."
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would also give this a B, just because the only reason I wouldn't go higher is honestly because, yes, it is a horror movie, but like by today's standards, it probably wouldn't be a horror movie.
I don't agree with that last.
I mean, yes,
okay.
yes, no, I don't know. It's like
I think in its own sense,
I feel like the horror in it didn't.
Horror movie, but
yeah, I guess it's more just like the horror didn't necessarily like stand the test of time, which is a lot of these movies. Let's be honest, it's a lot of the older movies.
I mean, like the horror movies nowadays are so like grandiose, and I mean, you could scare a parent with like a harsh gust of wind back then.
Yeah. Oh, I have stories about what my parents experienced with The
Exorcist.
So the next one is Carrie. Now, I like Carrie. This one I feel.
Wait, real quick. Are we doing the original or the remake?
Oh, this case we're doing the original here. Okay. I think there was a remake in like the 2000s. I don't know. Is there a newer remake? I think somebody told me there was.
Yeah.
There was a remake and there was a sequel in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, I actually liked the sequel. That was The Rage.
There's also a musical that I don't think made it past preview.
Yeah. No, I've seen it a couple times. But Carrie,
the came out in 2013.
Yeah, and there was one in 2000, but the 2000 was a TV one. But anyway, we're doing the original, I guess. So this one, I'll just say right off the bat, like I never hated it, but I also never really liked it, and I don't really have a reason for that. I just watched it when I was young too, and I mean, maybe as a girl, I would have found some of the opening scenes, like the infamous ones with the tampons and shit like that, like a bit more like jarring. But to me, I kind of just went through it and I was like, that was okay. So this will be a solid C for me. I just didn't really. To me, it's the movie that has all those actors from other things. Like it has the girl bully is the girl from RoboCop, and then it has John Travolta. So like it has everyone like from things that I know them better otherwise. So that's what the movie is to me. It's like a solid C. Jade, what do you think?
I would say it's on
C for Carrie.
For me personally, exactly. For me personally, I would say it's on like the lower B, high C level, mainly because it's definitely a horror movie, but it definitely reads more to me as like the ultimate revenge against bully story because of everything that happens. And the scariest thing I do remember in that movie is that like weird Jesus on the crucifix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely nothing super groundbreaking by today's standards, but I guess the final answer I'll say like high C.
High C.
For sure.
Jeff, what do you think?
I don't know, the movie, while it does read as a horror movie, there's a lot more suspense, and in that age of suspense, there's too many gaps in the horror bits. So it makes me just kind of like, like, you're watching and all of a sudden you're like...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that I got up and left. Like, I watched it kind of recently, like not maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, but I watched it kind of recently. And like, there's the part where like the gym teacher is kind of like, is like, making the bullies like, do push-ups or whatever. Like, she's punishing them. And I remember like there was like extended scenes like that where I'm like, I'm gonna get up and listen to eat, come back and still nothing's really moving.
Yeah, I can walk to my kitchen and grab a couple things and listen and make sure, I'll rush back. But I mean, it does. There's spurts here and there, and then it culminates at the end. And I'm like, while it's a great build-up, it was a long build-up.
Same.
And like they didn't do any sort of, cutting it down for the remake. Either. So while it is fun, I can't really decide then if it's more of a low C or a D for me, to be honest. Just because like I watched it, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't compelling as much to me.
Well, like we'll come back to whether it's a C or a D.
Because it's like it doesn't. For me, it's like. I feel like most horror movies, there is that build-up, but it's maybe like the first quarter of the movie, and for that movie, it's like the first 3 quarters of the movie, and then the last quarter of it is where it like gets actiony, like kind of scary.
Yeah. It's actually funny because
so that's why, like, I kind of agree.
Like that's my feeling on a lot of early Stephen King adaptations, like all of them, like Cujo, this one. Eventually, we're gonna get to The Shining, and like that's my opinion on a lot of them. I'm just like. Gee, those were so. Wait, is Shining even on
here?
It should be here.
More...
Oh no, it's 1980. Anyway.
You put The Shining on there. You put The Shining on there.
On the next.
Yeah, The Shining I feel like had more of a. The Shining was paced better. I feel.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you say, Molly? C. D,
I mean, also in general, this just like wasn't. I would say a D. In general, I mean, this isn't necessarily one of Stephen King's scarier works, anyways. So like.
Yeah, and it was a pretty faithful adaptation of the book. It just. I'm gonna actually, because it's the first one, I'll just leave it right there in the middle. The second movie we already have a split rank. I'll leave it right there in the middle, and then the next one is Dawn of the Dead. Now this one is a little weird for 2 reasons. One, there's a million cuts of it. You can rank whichever one you want. But 2, this is the only time on the list where you'll see a sequel outside of its franchise, because Night of the Living Dead's on here too somewhere. I think it's like next third one up coming up, but these are so iconically different. I think that they do deserve to be ranked separately, and I'm gonna give this one an A, and I would definitely give it an S, if only for the fact that for some weird reason, the zombie makeup in this one, and there's still some good gore, but the zombie makeup in this one is so weak with the blue zombies and everything like that. But the rest of the movie is so iconic. All the rest of it, the mall jingles. If you watch the Italian cut, which moves a lot quicker, and it has more of the goblin score. It's excellent. So I'm gonna give this one an A. Jeff?
I agree with the A. I absolutely love this series and kind of all the different things that come in between.
We're getting rated?
Even more. Huh?
We're getting rated. Thank you, Nyaru. We're getting rated by Nyaru and 18 people. So this will be you guys are coming in right when we're ranking horror movies. We're talking about Dawn of the Dead, by the way.
Hey.
Hi, people.
What's up, everyone?
Wait, can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Yes.
Is this a fast? Is this Fast Zombies?
No, this is the original.
No, it's the original.
So,
yeah.
The remake's the Fast
Oh yeah,
Zombies,
we're not bringing up we're bringing this is the one that's it's its own movie. We're not bringing up the remake or anything.
Yeah. But like even like between like the original and the 2004 remake, like I love the stories, and like how you said they're all very different from each other. I can get over the like, shoddy makeup because it's when was it from? Like
when is this from? I have the
78.
Yeah, 78.
Yeah, like I can get over that. But like, they instead of having great makeup and things like that, the zombies were able to push the story. They were able to create an emotional response even back then. It's like, yeah, good. I'll watch that. Anytime someone brings it up.
Okay, so we got two A's. What do you think, Molly?
Go next.
Huh?
So I'm not gonna lie, I've only seen Shaun of the Dead.
Oh my god,
Which is very different.
Another great film, though.
So I'm gonna base it off of that, and for that reason, I give it an A. Well, also okay. So what I'm getting is basically the original has slower zombies, but the remake has fast zombies.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean the plot is similar because
fast zombies
the
scare
mall.
But legitimately, like zombies that can run, that is super scary. Like that's way scarier to me than slow zombies. So I know we just said we're gonna do the old one, but I'm gonna kind of mix the remake with Shaun of the Dead and give it an A as well.
I mean,
so we're still getting an A.
I know that's fair. I'll allow that, I guess, for this one. Jade, what do you think?
I just, in general, I have mostly seen like paranormal horror. Like that's my more like horror-ish. So I haven't seen as much of like the zombie ones, but I do still enjoy a good zombie movie. And I do know that like, because zombie movies can get real campy real quick. Like this is actually a good one.
What do you think, Jade?
Really? No.
I'm in the same boat. I give it a solid A. I've seen the bits and pieces of the original, but I have seen the 2004 remake, and I loved that one. And it was scary, it was suspenseful, and the bits and pieces I saw of the original one, yeah, just like what everyone else said, I can look past the weird makeup because of the time, because the stakes were still high, the story was still good, and it's such an iconic film. Like you have to give it an A.
I mean, that is definitely true. Like I said, another reason.
Also, I'm just a sucker for camp, regardless.
Oh,
so.
Yeah.
There's a scene early on where like there's these two zombie kids, and they straight up just have to kill them and everything like that. So I don't say it's campy. And this is actually the very first scene. I believe the movie opens with them raiding this apartment, like tenement thing, because like they're keeping the dead, and some of them are becoming zombies, but there's like this it's just a crazy scene all around because they're like shooting all these families and things like that, and there's like this racist ass cop who I think gets shot by another cop. There's this racist ass cop who's just shooting everyone. Like he's running in, like he's not even looking for the zombies, like he's just running in shooting everyone. And then in the same scene there's the iconic zombie scene where like you have the boarded up like like doorway or window, whatever it was, and you just see the zombie hands break through, like through the gaps. Anyways. We already gave it an A, but I just want to go how iconic it was. Speaking of 1978, I did not know this movie was that old. For some reason, I always associated it with the 80s, but it's the first Halloween.
Honestly, I thought it was older.
Oh, really?
That was, yeah.
Because apparently the first Friday the 13th is like in 1980 or 81, I forget exactly. But yeah, this is 1978. Now, we could kind of rank some... I'm going to kind of mention some of the sequels in this one as well. Because I actually don't like... It's not on this list at all, but my favorite Halloween movie is Halloween 3, the one that does not have Michael Myers in it. This is definitely the best of the Michael Myers movies. Obviously, it's the first one. But if you watch it by itself, and I don't think anyone can really do this and turn it all off in their head, but pretend you never knew the sequels, it makes very little sense. And I know that's probably what they were going for, because Jamie Lee Curtis's character is not his sister in the original. He's just... I don't know why he decides to hunt her down. I guess she goes to the house he's living in, because he goes back to the Myers house, and I guess she shows up there, and he follows her. And the whole plot is so weird, because it's like, why is he doing this? And like, yeah, like, my point is, it's like, he's literally just a random killer, and I guess that could be the point. But if you watch it on its own now, I think it stands a little wonkily on its own. So I'm going to give it an A, because I love the movie. I love it to death. It's scary as fuck. It's still to this day. It's aged wonderfully. But the story is just weird when you examine it outside of the franchise. I don't know. What do you say, Jeff?
I've never understood the Michael Myers stuff, honestly, the Halloween.
Yeah, I don't like Michael Myers as a character, but keep going.
The last I watched, they made the remake like a few years ago, right?
Yeah, they did a remake. They actually rebooted this franchise several times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that one, and the entire time I'm just going, it's like a slow Benny Hill chase scene. You know, he's just like, I gotta get out of here, open the door, hi, wow, and it's like...
No, there's the franchise has had some huge highs and lows. Like I said, this is the first two Halloween movies, like Halloween 1 and 2, like 78, 81, were I think the only two that I feel that are true horror movies. Then there's like the sorta sequel remakey thing that came out in 2018, the one that also had Jamie Lee Curtis. That one's good too. But let's not forget, this series also had Halloween Resurrection, where he was killed by Busta Rhymes, who was doing like martial arts. So
yeah, that was the thing that happened.
Busta. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
May you never rest in peace.
Yeah, exactly. So Michael Myers has had his shit movies. You know what? I'm gonna give it a B because I know what happened. But if you look at, I changed my score. There you go, Jeff. You're working me down. What do you see, Jeff?
No,
honestly,
in the first movie, he wasn't. In the first movie, he was credited as the Shape.
Oh yeah, he was great
in the credits.
Well, he was called Michael Myers, but yeah, the killer was called the Shape, and
yeah,
and
it's weird.
It's like I said, the whole movie thing is like I said, if you watch it by itself, and if you don't watch the TV edit, because the TV edit was filmed as for part of part 2, so they kind of
I would never. Yeah, TV edits are just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of infamous TV edits though that added in a ton of scenes that were cut out or added in reshoots. So, but the Halloween one is weird because they retcon things to like make it fit the rest of the series. Which, no, let's not do that. So, anyways, what did you say, Jeff? Score wise?
Best I can give you is a C.
I mean, that's fair.
I get it. It's like, you know, it's the suspense. Open door. Hey, we're free. No, we're not. Stab. It's like. But you do that for like a couple of hours, and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna get more popcorn.
Can you be so iconic and so boring? Anyway.
Yeah.
Can you be so iconic and get also so boring? So, Jay, what do you think?
So, I'm really endeared to the Halloween movies because I've watched all of them since I was a kid, and yeah, like you said, that story has been retconned like 1,000 times. Because some of their, like, especially I think it's the Season of the Witch, the one where there's like a rune tattooed on his wrist or some shit. And
Yeah,
like with Paul Rudd, where
Yeah.
like it's the only movie where Paul Rudd looks old, but it's one of his first films. Which is weird because he looks younger now.
That movie's terrible. But yeah, let's not go into that one.
It is terrible.
That's
but
just a bad movie.
But I think, it's actually a cool little trivia. Because I'm so used to the sequels, I didn't know that Laurie wasn't originally supposed to be Michael's sister. But you know, I like slashers, and it's just, you know, the suspense is always high. Like even in the second one, where it's in the hospital, where you think you're supposed to be safe from all wounds, and it's just like, no, he's fucking shit up now. But then, yeah, with the remakes though, because what made Michael scary to me was that he was a child that killed his sister, and then he still grew up to be a psychopath, and that's like, no one knew why he was evil. But then in the Rob Zombie version, I know that it's not technically on the list, but still, it never hurts to bring it up. While the first one was all right, the second one was dumb. We're not going to get into that. But with the first one, it became even slower burn, and it was trying to give more reasons to why he was the way he was, when it was just scarier when there was no reason.
Yeah.
Like, the ambiguity got more horrifying. But yeah, overall, just because I'm just endeared to the series in general, despite the criticisms I gave it, I'll give it like a lower end A, like A-.
Okay, well, we're all over the place here. We got an A, B, and a C.
I know.
So, Molly, what do you think?
I'm not super big on slasher films. I don't like get queasy or anything. They just don't really do it for me. I'm just like, okay, cool, someone's getting stabbed. Like, I know that sounds really like
all right, cool,
nonchalant, but it just like they aren't. Well, they like aren't really like my like what I would prefer to watch. That being said, because Michael Myers as a character has like transcended this franchise and is like in other things, like I'm pretty sure in Dead by Daylight there's a Michael Myers character, and like it might not actually be Michael Myers, but very, very obviously like to me, like there's like the three Halloween villains. It's Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Like those are like the three iconic ones. So it's like, just for that, I do have to give it a higher score than I would normally, which is why I'm giving it a B.
Okay, and I think that pretty much makes it a B, because we have the A, 2 Bs, and a C. So we'll just leave it at B.
That's a good average.
That's okay. I mean, I was giving it an A until I started remembering how stupid the series got. So. No,
that is very fair. That's a very, very fair shot, though.
Okay, so the next one's a weird one. So it's Jaws, and I don't know if you guys have watched or let me rephrase it. I don't know if you guys how versed you are just in generic horror movies, but there's three movies that I hate just because how often every other movie gets compared to them. It's Jaws, it's Psycho, and it's The Exorcist. And for some reason, those three, and they're all coming up soon. This is the first one. I cannot stand how often those get compared to things. It's always like, this movie does for whatever what Psycho did for showers. This movie does for bears what Jaws did for sharks. This movie did, etc. Or it's always those two for Jaws and Psycho, and then it's always like I'm jumping the gun, but I don't want to repeat this 3 times. And then it's always the scariest thing since The Exorcist. Yes,
I see that all the time.
It's always those 3 things. So I hate that it's always. Because the Jaws one, it's always like, this movie does for hiking what Jaws did for swimming. It's always that. And honestly, if you've never noticed it for Jaws and Psycho, just watch. Just read the back of things, the quotes, or just go type it in. You Google it in, and you'll come across a million movie quotes, like movie review quotes. So for that I never liked Jaws. Jaws was the movie that like people people kind of made up the less is more, the things you don't see.
Deep blue sea is better.
I don't like it.
Deep blue sea is better.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I will. Yeah,
Deep blue sea is better. Although I don't know if Deep Blue Sea is a horror movie, but Deep Blue Sea is better in my opinion.
That's the one with LL Cool J, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who was also in H2O, right? That was him in H2O. Was he in LL Cool J? Was he in that one too, or is that someone else? There was another rapper.
I don't know that movie.
In H2O, the Halloween one. The Halloween one.
I just like that they like gave a reason for the sharks being like
for being aggressive.
awful. And
That,
yeah.
makes,
Oh, yeah.
that does make
Jaws
sense.
was the first big blockbuster. And Jaws was based on a book of all things, but still, my point to bringing all this up is that, like, and this doesn't necessarily reflect on Psycho and The Exorcist. It just happens to be that Jaws I didn't like also on its own, so this one's getting a D. Jaws
So
is
we're on
getting
Jaws.
a D.
That's the one we're on.
Yes, Jaws is
Okay,
getting
I
a
wasn't
D.
sure which one of the three. I wasn't sure which of the three we were on.
Yeah, because then coming up soon is Psycho, and then coming up after that's The Exorcist. But anyways, Jade, what do you think?
So, with Jaws, it definitely contributed to my irrational fear of sharks in the swimming pool.
Oh, the one in the swimming pool. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I will say that one is a very slow burn too,
Yeah.
because most of the movie is them like spending time looking for the damn thing.
Yeah, and none of the sequels are good, by the way. Just to spoil that right away. None of the sequels are good.
All the sequels are god awful.
Yeah.
Like I think even Michael Caine is on record someone asked him like what he thought of, I think, Jaws the Revenge.
Yeah.
The one where Jaws roars.
Yeah, the one where the shark followed them to an island or whatever. But anyways,
something like that. Yeah, Michael Caine is on record saying, "I like the house it bought me."
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Jaws on its own, I mean, it did contribute to a lot of phobias that people have. But yeah, as a whole, like by today's standards, yeah, I would give it a solid C.
Okay, we're at a C and a D. Molly, what do you think?
Okay, this is another one that, because of the cultural impact, I do have to give it a little bit higher score I would normally. But I also have like issues like because of the phobia, and like I'm pretty sure. I don't know. People like are already afraid of sharks, and this movie did not help that. And people like kill sharks just because they're afraid of them. Just sharks that are just swimming around and minding their own business. And it's like, I really don't like that. Like, I don't like the shark culling because, you know, we can easily, like, avoid sharks by just not going in the ocean. Like, they can't leave the ocean. We don't have to go in it. So, like, you know, but sharks in the pool, though, that I understand. That's, like, a whole nother, like, because I had that, too, as a kid. It's like, if you couldn't see the deep end from the shallow end, you're like, they're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
Lake Placid did that
so
to me, too, and that's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes even bad movies, horror movies and stuff, can still like instill fear in you.
Totally.
So I'm also, I think, gonna give this one a C. It would be lower if it wasn't for the culture impact.
Okay.
There's even a ride for it at Universal Studios, which is it's a fun ride. I remember as a child being amazed that there was water or there was fire on the water.
Oh my god.
I was like, how is it there? In the Jaws ride at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
So that the C is more for that, honestly, than a actual.
Oh my god, Molly.
Just because I don't, even though it did have a cultural impact, there's some parts of the cultural impact that I don't necessarily like because I do think it gave sharks a bad name. Sharks in general are not going to attack you. Like most sharks are not going to attack you, and even if they do, they won't usually eat you. Like it's very rare for a shark to eat a person unless it's a tiger shark. Tiger sharks will eat anything, but I will not go on my whole shark thing now. Actually, I'm going to go on it. Great white sharks, they just think that you're a seal. They just think that you're a seal, and then they're just biting you to see what you are. And I know that like really sucks, and like yes, you can bleed out and die that way, but they're not trying to necessarily eat you.
They're just biting you to see what you are.
And also, but like, you know what I mean? I feel like they get a bad rap more so than they deserve, is all I'm saying.
Jeff,
Because they're very easily avoidable as far as human predators go.
Jeff, what do you think?
The easiest
This is
to avoid.
Like, Molly's gonna start living out that meme where it's all like, it's in the meme where the shark is all like, human, you're trapped in a steel cage, I'll save you. He's like, ah.
I mean, that being said, when I'm...
Oh, Molly froze.
Oh no! That's a perfect freeze frame.
I know, like,
that's a perfect...
Oh,
Let me fucking tell you about sharks!
I know. What do you think about?
Oh no!
Well, she'll come back, I'm sure. But anyways, Jeff, what do you think about Jaws?
Okay. So I'm gonna piggyback off of Molly.
Oh, there she goes. Kinda. Piggyback off Molly.
I'm gonna piggyback off Molly, and I'm gonna either sound like an angry Aquaman or the Deep for this. And you know, talking about the cultural things, I absolutely hate how it affected how we treat, you know, anything scary looking in the ocean. As an islander, like, I was taught, you know.
Yes.
As an islander, I was taught, you know, to you know, appreciate everything that comes from the sea, to take and give back equally, give respect, and all these things. And while it is, yes, we're always very afraid of the things we don't know, and you know, but like, sharks don't deserve that kind of rap, because, like she said, you know, they're not gonna come after you unless it's a tiger shark. You know.
Yeah, just fuck the tiger sharks.
Like, you know, it's just, while I appreciate the suspense that comes from it, it's the exact same kind of a feel as, like, with Halloween. It's just kind of like, he's not there, he's there, he's not there, he's there. It's more intense, he's there, someone died. And it's just like, you're just like, someone went, land, sea, air, water, you know, let's go with the sea. And then that's kind of it. You know, that.
And then the birds is the air.
The birds is the air, yeah. But, like, you know, you get people, like, you get fishermen who will just find, if they get a shark, they won't just release it. They'll cut off the fins and then dump it overboard, and then it just lays there, and it can't breathe because a lot of sharks have to move to breathe, and then it'll just die. So, I give it an F.
Oh, shit. Okay.
That's also why I say I like, with Deep Blue Sea, at least it's like the reason the sharks are attacking them is because of stuff that they did to the sharks.
Yeah, they're modified, and it's like they're actually, like, caused to be aggressive. That's why, like, I completely agree with that. It's not just like some shark going, man, that boat is real blocking my sun. Like, I don't like that.
I'm not gonna lie.
Or honestly, or Sharknado.
Sharknado
is also.
I will say
one thing. Shark movie. The Ghost Shark movie, if anyone remembers that one.
No, what are you talking about?
What? There's a ghost shark?
There was a Ghost Shark movie. Yeah, it was like a ghost shark.
2013 Ghost Shark.
Is that really?
A coastal town is plagued by a supernatural man-eating shark.
Well, that one will be a D.
I want to watch this now.
That one will be a D because it's kind of raised. It's lowered down by the F, but.
Yeah. I will say one positive cultural thing about the movie is the puppet was named Bruce, and every other shark is named Bruce now, and it's adorable, and I do appreciate that, because a friend actually
You keep going. Sorry.
A friend found, like, a great white in a game, and she's like, name it. I'm like, Bruce, because duh. So, yeah, that's my thing.
So, the next one... Sorry, I was responding to some Discord thingies. The next one is Night of the Living Dead. Now, honestly, I don't know what can be said about this that hasn't been said already. I will say this, though. I love this movie to death. I'll never forget the first time I ever watched it. It was on TV. First of all, this is public domain, so we could fucking stream this right now if we wanted to. But watched it on TV like when I was really young. Not like network TV, so there was no commercials. But I watched it on TV, and the ending shocked the fuck out of me when I was a kid. Like, I don't know if it was like, you know, it's truly a scary like ending, but for those who've never seen it, have you all seen this movie?
I haven't.
Not in ages, but this has more cultural impact on me than, like, the movie did. So,
mind you, like, the one of the big plot points is, like, the main character is black, and, like, this is a movie that it was filmed in the 60s, and he takes charge and whatever, and he's the sole survivor. There's all this nonsense that happens along the way, but that's it. He's the sole survivor. And at the end, there's, like, this posse who's coming around who's killing all the zombies, like, you know, systematically killing them all, like, just to clear up the zombie thing. And when they get to the house that he's holed up at, one of them, like, looks through the window, because he's looking through the window, the guys are looking into the window, and they shoot him. And they just drag him out, and they throw him on the pile of bodies that are burning. And that's the way the movie ends. And it's not only is it iconic for, like, I mean, it's a huge, like, social commentary, like, without even going any further than that, because like, and then oh my god, it's just so insane, and it's so like, it's such a shock twist ending, and sorry if I ruined it for everyone who hasn't seen it, but like, it's just a shock twist ending that like, if you watch it for the first time and nobody's told you about it, you don't think that's gonna happen. That wouldn't happen today. That would never happen today. And like, you know, it was just so insane. And then the movie itself is really great, and I used to be scared by it, even though it uses like, it's a very low budget movie, it's black and white, even though like color movies were totally the thing back then, and it uses a lot of library music, like, you know, public domain music.
When did it come out?
67?
68.
68? I have it listed 68. There. 68, yeah. And it uses a lot of library music, but it's, I remember still being scared by it. This is a total S. Anyways, Jade, what do you think?
I actually haven't seen Night of the Living Dead.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's on my list of things that I still need to watch.
You really need to watch it. It's really good. You can watch it literally anywhere. I think you actually go to like the Library of Congress site, because they have some of the movies, like, you know, some of the I think you can watch it for free, basically. You watch it free at a ton of places. Like, I think you go to YouTube, I'm sure. Like, because it's totally legal to, because through some bullshit, because the movie was called like Night of the something. Like, I forgot what it's called, like, it had a different title. And then when the distributor changed it to Night of the Living Dead, they changed the title card but didn't put back on the copyright. So, it's been public domain, like, forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. It's really easy for me to find.
Exactly. Like, and if you want to download it, unless you're downloading, like, a crazy, you know, weird cut version with new music, something like that, but you can totally download it for free too, like a lot of places, like legally, 100% legally. Jeff, what do you say?
I haven't watched it in ages, but imagery from the movie, back and forth growing up with a lot of the bands that I listened to, like especially local bands, used the image of the girl with the hair and the, you know, folded over, like that. In particular image has haunted me from like being an early, like late teen with growing up with the music, because they would make it, you know, all the kind of horror-esque style bands that I had listened to like took influences from these movies, and definitely like a lot of the other George Romero movies. Now that you bring up the ending, it really makes me like, wow, I don't remember that, and I'm gonna have to watch it again.
It's insane. It's insane. Like, I'll never, like, that stuck with me. Like I said, I saw it when I was really, really young, and like, I don't think I even understood the social commentary part of it. But I watched it, I was like, oh my god, he did all that and he still died. You know, it just blew my mind.
Honestly, I don't know how I would rank it, because it's just
well, so far we're writing on my ass.
I mean, because it's definitely like one of those movies that is, I think, a pinnacle of what's you know, of things to come. I'll definitely give it an A, because I think it's definitely like one of those big stepping stools of where things were gonna go.
Molly, what do you think? First of all, also just to jump in there, I definitely think it's better than Dawn of the Dead, even though Dawn of the Dead is still a good movie in its own right. But anyways, Molly, go ahead.
I really want to watch the remake again now.
Is Dawn of the Dead also black and white? So much fun.
No, it's color, but they're both George Romero.
Yeah.
Apparently, I just like looked it up, and because I wanted to look up images. I haven't seen the movie either, and it said apparently he didn't actually mean to tackle race with it. But he did anyway.
Because apparently,
a lot of people,
exactly.
Like, it wasn't his intention, but like it happened. And like, because of that, like movies like Get Out and like all the zombie movies and like The Walking Dead and like all it like what Jeff was saying, it really like paved the way for a lot of other movies.
No, George Romero, because George Romero. Rest in peace, by the way. George Romero mentioned that like the character was written, the script was written, and the character was not like written as like black, or the character was just a character, and he cast a black man because that was the person who like was best for the part, and it just happened to be that there were all these weird, like not weird, but there's all these scenes that for the time were pretty groundbreaking. There's a scene where like the main character, the female main character, is going insane, so he slaps her to like, you know, to snap her out of it, and everyone's all like, oh my god, a black man, you know, hit a white woman, you know, in the mid 60s. It's like, oh, the late 60s, whatever. Like, ooh, like come on. Yeah, but there's all sorts of scenes like that where it's like it's accidentally like social, commenting on like social situations at the time. But what do you say, Molly, rank wise?
You guys have said I would say definitely like an A.
Okay.
Just with how, as I said, I also have not seen it, but just from that twist is like an M. Night Shyamalan twist right there.
Yeah.
And like a good M. Night Shyamalan twist, not a bad M. Night Shyamalan twist. And so like the Sixth Sense twist, that's the only good one.
Yeah, not like The Village.
And
oh no.
I know I'm beating up The Village now.
well, I love when I see it. Anyways, he tries real hard. And also just because of how like without that movie, like who knows if we'd have all these other great movies that have come out. So
We'll leave it an A because I do feel like I was going a little high with the S. Not. I mean, that was more nostalgia talking, but I'm fine with an A too.
The only way for me to give something an S is if it's. The only way for me to give something an S is if it's supernatural. I'm probably gonna give an S to all the supernatural ones.
The next one is Psycho. By the way, we probably move a little faster. But the next one's Psycho. And I want to give. I'll explain why, but right away I'm going to say I want to, and I've already told you my Exorcist, Psycho, Jaws things. I'm not going to repeat that, but partly because of that, and partly for some other reasons, I'm going to give this a C. And the reason is that like I made that joke earlier about like being so iconic and so boring. I don't think that's really this movie, but I feel like it's been overplayed, like even way more so than Alien has. I don't know. It's not really the movie's fault, but it's just the way things go. It's and. Like the shower scene is iconic, but it's been parodied and referenced, and like there was even references to all of Psycho basically in Halloween, like in character names and like other stuff like that. So I'm kind of over it. Also, it has a really bad shot-for-shot remake in the 90s.
Really?
Yeah. But so I'm gonna give it a C, and that's not necessarily a bad grade. It's just smack in the middle. What do you think, Jade?
I'll have to agree with you. I give it a C, mainly because it's like, and I give it a high C mainly because of the cultural impact, and because of how iconic it is. But yeah, like when I think about all the horror movies that I genuinely have enjoyed, Psycho isn't that memorable to me. Despite it being like so well known and being like, oh yeah, it makes people afraid of showers. That it never did that for me personally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, it's definitely an icon, but it's not as good as the hype is. I will say I still need to finish it, but the show Bates Motel was actually pretty good, which is supposed to be like a modern day reboot prequel kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Like but that's it's kind of an AU in that way though. But yeah, I give Psycho a solid C.
Okay. It actually has some decent sequels, by the way. Fun fact, if no one's ever seen them, I think they're like all available on, if you have like a Showtime subscription, they're all available on that. But I was watching Psycho 2 the other day, and I'm like, oh, this movie's not that... I mean, I've seen it before, but I was watching it for the first time in, like, 20 years, and I was like, this movie's not that bad. But anyway, Jeff, what do you think?
I've never been a big Hitchcock guy.
I'll agree with you there totally, by the way. But
and, again, it's definitely the mix of, the difference in times, everything's so, like... jump scare in your face, like boom 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 boom, that this kind of suspense thing is almost what's the word, it's just, it doesn't work, like it's just lost its flair, and it lost its flair real quick because once the 70s kind of hit, rolling into the 80s, it just blew it out of the water. So I don't really have an opinion other than it's dated, and I don't think it really kind of aged terribly well. Halfway between C and D, I guess I could give it like C because it did like push for more people to make references. D because I watched it once and like I even regret that.
What do you think, Molly?
Can I see the movie, but I've read the book? Can I do it based on the book?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. B. Because it's the type of thing that I really like. I was a psychology major specifically because I wanted to possibly go into criminal psychology. And for those that don't know, Norman Bates is based off of Ed Gein. Right? Yeah. Him? Yes, right? Gein?
Yeah.
Is Gein?
Yeah.
Is it Gein?
It's Gein.
Okay, yeah. I'm confusing myself on which one it was. So, yeah. I do think that, like, the scariest thing that happens, which is the shower scene, happens in, like, the first 15 minutes. That's, like, not really, but I mean, it's, like, one of the first things that happens. So that's kind of interesting to me. You would think that would be almost more, like, more climactic. But yeah, but I'm still gonna give it a B. The book's good. Read the book.
Well, 3 C's and a B, and one of those C's was low, is still a C. But Molly's B is noted. Fun fact, I don't know when it happened, but my camera froze. I just don't want to try to fix it.
It's
probably froze.
while.
Yeah, it probably froze a long time ago.
It's been a while.
I just don't want to try to fix it right now because
honestly, it's hard to tell though because of your mask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave it. It'll either fix itself or I'll fix it way later on when we do the thumbnail. So we're fine. Just bear with me that I know that I'm looking like this. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing, but I know that I'm frozen. But
Smiling with your eyes and your mask.
Exactly, I'm good. It's a good position to freeze on, so I'm fine. So the next was Rosemary's Baby, and I'll just be straight up with this. I haven't seen this movie in a long time. It's very iconic though, and I almost wish I had to put on the list because then I remembered what a total piece of trash Roman Polanski is. But that's a story for another day. If you don't know that, just Google that on your own time. But I'm still gonna. With that aside, so I'm not gonna judge that for now. I'm gonna give the movie a B because this is one of the first horror movies I ever saw, and it was really scary for me. I remember watching it because there's a scene where basically, if you don't know the plot, I won't spoil the spoilery parts, but there's this cult, and this woman's I don't know if she's a fiance, if it's a fiance. She thinks that she thinks that they're having sex or whatever, but it's actually the devil. The cult has been summoned, and she's pregnant with the Antichrist, and that scene, it's not a graphic sex scene, but there is a sex scene where the devil and her having sex scared the shit out of me. Don't ask me why my mom let me watch this. She used to only let me watch it when I was 5, but it's great. I love it. So I'm gonna give it a B. I think I said an A the first time, but I'm still gonna give it a B. Anyway, Jeff, what do you think? I don't know if you've seen this one.
Honestly, if I have, it was ages ago. All I do remember is I actually really like these movies that have to do with kind of like the occult and Christianity and the devil taking over. It's always just been something that it's not that I enjoy for I think a weird reason, but it always brings a good storyline. Between the devil's either gonna take over the baby or taking over somebody to take over the world. I just like how it is, and I can only assume this is one of, if not maybe the first one that takes the occult and does that.
Yeah, it pretty much was.
And it is one, honestly, I don't remember 95% of it. So I can't judge on its own movie, but I know that, even just between you talking about it and me double checking what's what on the movie, it's bred, references, whether they liked it or not, to so many movies that I like nowadays. One of them that came to mind first was End of Days, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And while, it's, kind of pulling, or splitting hairs between things, that kind of idea of it, is there, and I appreciate it. So while I can't judge it on a movie, I can judge on its cultural impact, and I think I'll just I'll give it a B, just because I don't want to score too high.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think, Molly?
because it started my favorite genre of horror movies.
Oh my god, it's funny actually because this movie's really crazy. It's one of those movies that you can't have to watch more than once to get some weird shit, because like you'll notice if you watch it again that like, oh, there's that person in the background is totally watching her, like is the cult following her everywhere. And it's like it's one of those kind of movies where it's all like, oh, that's the old man from the apartment and he's outside, like, you know, he's standing beside her at the street corner, like that's not coincidence. Anyways, it's a great movie. But fuck Roman Polanski, that's the story.
I don't like him.
But anyway, Jade, what do you think?
That's actually another one I haven't seen, and right before I was going to watch it for the first time, I heard about what a piece of garbage Roman Polanski is, and I was just like, yeah, fuck that guy. I don't want to support that guy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I completely forgot until I was looking at when I was wrapping up the list and I was getting all the pictures and the years, and I was like, oh shit, this is Roman Polanski, and I'm like, well, I don't feel like it's like weird lazy. Like I didn't want to like change it then. I'm just like, I'll just add an asterisk. It's like watching Jeepers Creepers today, and if you don't know who directed and wrote Jeepers Creepers, go look that up too to ruin that movie if you liked it before.
Oh,
but
that's something I have to look up. I'm curious.
But anyway, so I guess we're at the A ranks because did you give it? Oh, you just don't want to give it a rank. So we got 2 A's and a B, so we'll leave it at A. Even though, you know, I'll knock it down to a B just because of Roman Polanski.
Yeah, fuck Roman Polanski.
Why not?
But next is Chainsaw Massacre, and honestly, I'm just gonna straight up say it. This is an S because I just love the movie. I grew up liking it, and it's the only time I'll ever agree that the less is more. And because I'm a huge, I used to love gory movies, and this is the only movie that I agree that the less it still feels gory even though they're not showing shit. Usually I don't agree with that, but this one I do feel that way. When I saw it, I thought it was way gorier than it was, but there's very little blood in it, very little like actual gore. So this is an S. I just love Chainsaw Massacre. It's a great movie. It also has a shit ton of bad sequels, but not all of them are horrible. Like part 2 is like really comedic. And then the remake was pretty good actually. There was a remake and a remake prequel that weren't that bad, but they're different. But this one, S rank. What do you think, Jade?
I'll admit it's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember liking that. Yeah, like there was gore, but it was more implied gore.
Mm-hmm.
And you still got the impact of how horrifying Leatherface is, and then you go and meet the family and see that weird ass grandma thing that's like drinking the blood from, I think, one of the victims. It's been a while since I've seen the dinner scene. Like the dinner scene is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been I haven't seen it since I was like 13. So that being said, I'd give it a B, just because like just based on like my memory of it, because I remember I enjoyed it, but I don't remember too much about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of going nostalgic, I'm not gonna lie. What do you think, Molly?
Oh, I'm gonna have that and a couple of the things on the list I already know.
So, although it's a slasher, I do like how there is still kind of like a surrealist element with like the family, because that's really like my the paranormal stuff. I really like surreal stuff. So even though it's a slasher and I'm normally rate of lower, I think I'd probably give this one
B. So we got 2 B's and an S. So that's fair. What do you think, Geoff?
I'm not the most familiar with A, the movie, and B, the series, but I do like everything that I remember, mainly none of it being story, is just like get away from the crazy man with the chainsaw. And to its own point, that is just as entertaining as I need a movie where I just want to hang out with friends and eat popcorn. I'll give it a solid. I'll give it an A. That's definitely an A, a high A to like a midway to S, like how you put Carrie kind of thing. Just because it's just like it went from get you to, you motherfuckers come here, and like, you can't get that. Like, it's no longer like creeping death. It's just like, oh hey, there's a wildfire and you're trapped.
Yeah.
So like, I kind of like that.
So that'll get a nice A because you gave it an A, I gave it an S, and 2 Bs. That'll get a nice A. So the next one is one that I have a lot of strong feelings on. It's Amityville Horror, and in this case, we are going to rank the whole series, kinda. We're talking about the first one, and there's like 8 billion sequels, and there's also a remake. And I'm gonna just cut to the chase. This is a solid F for me. The movie I think is terrible. The sequel, I mean the remake, doesn't even. First of all, it's based on a true story that was written by this family who pretty much everyone agrees lied about the whole thing.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. So, first of all, there's that. But then the remake, for maybe because of that, maybe because they want to do their own thing, the remake doesn't even follow the quote-unquote true story, even though they still pretend that they are. But I have this huge thing about ghost movies, and I've talked to Molly about this in a past thing. A lot of ghost movies follow the same formula, I guess, because you can't really, because it's a ghost, and in most plot settings, I don't know how real ghosts work, quote unquote, but in most plot settings, a ghost is stuck somewhere. So I can only assume you can't really get away with doing too many things too crazy early on, because that's you just leave. So almost every ghost story always follows the same formula, where it's little things happen, little things happen, little things happen, little things happen, and then shit goes down at the last 10 minutes. And this movie's the epitome of that. It's just terrible. I don't like it. It gets an F. Also, the sequels are terrible. There's one where there's a haunted lamp, and yeah, yes, and yeah, that's it. F. What do you think, Jade?
I agree. Solid F on that one. One, because it's I have seen the original first one, and I've seen the remake. I remember the remake with Ryan Reynolds being god awful.
Oh yeah, the remake's terrible too.
And the original just I'm basing it just based on how little of an impact it had on me. I literally just it's one of those ones where I'm watching it and I'm just I do not give a crap about any of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am 100% with you on that. F for Amityville Horror.
And I made this joke because I did a presentation on horror movies a while back, and I made this joke about who is watching these movies still. I think there's 13 movies in the franchise, or 14, and I'm who is still watching them, that they're still making them? Please stop! Don't do it anymore. What do you think, Geoff?
I have no opinion whatsoever. Even looking on Google about it, I like the concept of ghosts and things about that when it comes to it. I agree with you that ghost stories tend to follow a very specific type of, plan or storyline. But I have no dog in this game, so I will let you vote for me on the.
Okay. Well, we're at 2 good Fs, and now Molly came back just in time. So those will be I'm just gonna give it an F. Molly does come back. I do think she semi agrees.
What do you?
Amityville Horror.
Which one?
Technically all of them, but the original one especially.
79. That's
79. Yeah.
Wait, what did everyone else give it?
Fs, and Geoff just abstained.
I abstained because I don't know enough.
Fs? Really?
Yeah. Oh God, I'm giving it an F. Molly doesn't get a choice in this.
No, I would give it a B.
What?
Oh wow! I want to hear this. I don't know anything about the movie.
Well, okay, I will say this is based on the remake. I haven't seen the original, but I understand it's based on a story that wasn't true. But first of all, I don't know. I just thought it was a good movie. I don't even know how. First of all,
well,
I thought it was a good movie.
Well, technically we're ranking the 1979 one, so we're staying with F. That's my one little, I'll probably get one more, but that's my one little, I'm just gonna ignore what Molly just said and give it an F anyway. Also, to be fair, the remake technically wasn't based on the true story anymore because it was like it changed. Oh my god, why won't this move? Okay, there it goes. It changed so much that.
Well, there was a murder. There was a murder that happened there. It just wasn't actually haunted. Like, the murder is real.
Yeah, that murderer is still in jail to this day right now. I looked it up a couple weeks ago, unless he died like a week ago. But yeah, he's still in prison like right now. But moving on, it's the Exorcist.
No, but I just remember there was like the part where the ghost is trying to get the little girl to jump off the roof. Like, that part was creepy.
Molly, you're so funny. The next one's the Exorcist. Now, this...
We're gonna have some differing opinions with Manuel.
No, you're gonna hate me on this one, but I'm just gonna come out and say it. I hate that this is everyone's go-to for the scariest movie ever. I don't think the movie is bad, but I don't think it's good. This would have been a C if it wasn't for the fact that I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna give it a higher score. So just to curtail that a little, I'm giving it a D. Just to fight that a little, I'm gonna give it a D. Just to preemptively like screw everyone over, that just to bring down the average. What do you say, Geoff?
Honestly, while I enjoy it, it's not one of those that has like impacted like how I rank other movies. I've seen it with friends a few times, and I think it's a great, weird, kind of like again, like the practical like makeup effects and things like that, the special effects and makeup effects, I adore, because that's what I like. Other than that, it's a possession movie.
Yeah.
And while it is, I think for the time being, it did a great job in like obviously scaring the pants off of people enough to be referenced 30
forever.
Plus years
Yes.
30 plus years later. For the I'll give it a gosh, I don't know if I should give it a B or a C, just because it's enjoyable but not memorable for me. I'll give it a B. I think I've been kind of harsh, but like this is definitely one that it has stuck around, and like it has given me more reasons to appreciate something.
Okay, so I got a B and a D. Not bad. What do you think, Jade?
So I also agree that it is not the scariest movie of all time. Like I would think that, like, yeah, considering the time period it was released, maybe then sure, but I will say, yeah, practical effects amazing, and I will say, despite it not scaring the pants off of me, it does do a good job with making me feel very uncomfortable the whole time. I would say overall rating, I would give it a B. The only thing that's making me not give it an A is because of what Linda Blair went through on set.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I give it a high B.
And not even just her, the mom too.
Oh really?
Issues.
Oh.
Yeah, there was the point where like the mom gets thrown against the wall. They told her they did it harder than she was expecting, and she has like permanent back damage.
Oh my god. That is insane.
What do you think, Molly?
I would give it a B, but I'm going to give it an A because I want to negate Manuel's D. No, honestly, like, so, the reason, I'll give it a B, and the only reason I'm not giving it an A is because the horror has not stood the test of time. The movie's just not scary by today's standards. Or not as scary, but I will say, like, at the time, like, people were fainting and throwing up in the theater. My dad legitimately was like, I need to convert to Catholicism, like, because of this movie. My mom said when she read the book, she refused to have the book in the room with her, so she put it out in the hallway of her dorm in college, and she was just like, it's not in the room with me. Like, this movie really was one of the first real, like, possession movies, I believe, and, like, it really freaked people out. So for that, I have to give it. You know what? I am giving it an A.
Oh my god. Well, it still kind of averages out to a B because it's two B's and an A and a D.
I agree. I will agree though that it's not by today's standards, it's not at all the scariest movie that has been. Like, I've been much more scared by other movies. The Grudge 2 is the movie that's probably scared me the most, which had a lot to do with the age I was when I saw it. But
okay, I was about to say, like, that movie's pretty bad, Molly. But
yeah, but it scared the crap out of me when I was.
The next one is kind of like.
Do we have The Haunting on this list?
No. That probably should have been, but whatever, it's not on here. The next one is The Omen.
I really should have been.
Which is kind of like if Rosemary's Baby, like almost like Rosemary does have two sequels technically, but one's a TV movie and one's a book. But we're not talking about those. But this is kind of if Rosemary's Baby had a sequel, because this is like the Antichrist is born, and now he's a young child with this political family. I love this movie. It has a very scary, like, sounding theme, which is like this Latin-y song where, like, you know, all these lyrics about like Antichrist this, Antichrist that. And I mentioned this to Molly, but it's crazy because that song was nominated for like best song at the Academy Awards that year. Like, so I you know, this is back before, I guess, like a lot of movies had, like, you know, themes or whatever. So I just find that wild that a song all in Latin about the Antichrist was the best song nominee. But also there's the infamous scene at the very beginning where the babysitter's like, Damien, this is all for you.
What the movie? Not only was the song is literally just like Antichrist Latin script being sung to a melody.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And
it was nominated for the best song at the Oscars.
Yeah, it's insane. But so I'm gonna give, and this movie scared the shit out of me as a kid. Also the sequels. I'll be real. This was clearly meant to be a franchise, even though it's like the 70s before this kind of happening, because this movie kind of feels like you knew there was going to be a sequel because like the way it ends, and especially the part 2, because part 2 you knew that was like smack in the middle. He's older, but the whole cool thing is it's like Damien, even though he's the Antichrist, he's not really the one that like you're scared of. It's the cult. It's like, you know, the devil, I guess, who's also helping him along. But it's the cult and the devil who are really like the ones out there like doing shit. I'm gonna give this an S.
There's a lot of stuff that's like, oh, just because like the Antichrist is born, but like, is it really because of the Antichrist that become evil, or is it because of the way that they're treated?
Yeah, it's a good movie. They kind of copped out.
Has anyone seen Elfen Lied?
Yes. It's an anime, but anyway.
Elfen Lied?
What do you say about the Omen, Molly, since you're still talking about Elfen Lied? What do you say about the Omen, Molly?
I'll give it an 8.
Okay.
It's pretty.
Also, I love, now mind you, this is like quote unquote real Antichrist lore. This is the only one that ever really addressed the fact that the Antichrist's mom is a jackal. Every other movie kind of like does away with that whole aspect.
What?
Yeah. The father is Satan, but the mom's a jackal, and like they even reference it in this movie. The Omen is like in like scripture, not scripture, but like
in the Bible. You mean
in extended? Because I don't think the Bible ever says this, but it's like extended scripture or whatever. So
like a jackal, like the animal.
Yes, gives birth to a human.
Jackal.
And in the movie, they're even like, I saw his mother and I saw what she was, and they dig up her grave, and it's a jackal in the grave, like, you know, it's a jackal corpse and not a human corpse. But anyways, I love that they actually stuck with that because it's such a weird concept otherwise, you know. But anyways,
is it like in one of those books that didn't make it into the Bible? Because there are those books.
Yeah, I think it's in one of those. Because I mean, I don't think it's too crazy in depth the whole Revelations thing, but like I think there's like extended revelations or stuff that like was said in other books that they just interpret to add into it. But I think it is in one of the other end of timesy chapters, just like that specifies exactly how he's born. But anyway, what do you think, Jade?
I definitely give the Omen an A because totally like. Yeah, Damien is the Antichrist, but he's not the villain at all. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not technically the villain of the movie. Like, he's still just a regular kid this whole time going about his business. But, like, the nanny, the dog, like, all the random deaths that keep occurring, and they're not really knowing, like, okay, who's going to die next and in what weird freak accident. And I feel like this was in a way a precursor to the Final Destination.
Yeah,
because of how freaky these accidents were.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
The guy gets his head cut off with the pane of glass. That's a total Final Destination kill.
Yeah, and of course it's like the whole "it's all for you, Damien." Like honestly, like the scene where the nanny is like telling Damien that she's going to protect him and watch over him. That part freaked me out more than that first hanging scene. But yeah, I super love the Omen. Solid A for sure.
What do you think? What do you think, Jeff?
So I'm gonna judge it on maybe a couple different, 2 or 3 different things. The first thing, and it's the thing that sticks with me the most, is I absolutely love how with this movie, when did this originally come out?
76.
76. So all the stories that I heard from behind the scenes and stuff, that the on set was such a fucking nightmare because everyone believed that on set was haunted because they were doing this movie. People were getting messed up, things were getting like this is like weird possession things all thrown about, you know, all these different like crazy stories. And I love that. And it also helped translate into producing the movie. I like the storyline of the movie. The 2006 remake, I actually also holds a weird. Who that?
That's Damien today.
Oh shit!
He's the Antichrist. Anyway.
The remake in 2006 actually holds a weird place in my heart because I graduated high school in 2006, drove down from Washington State, and the first thing I did when I got back here in LA was watch the movie because it came out on 6/66.
Oh, you're right. I forgot that happened.
Yeah.
Right.
And that one is also kind of funny because they tried to the cast at the same time were like, "Oh, I think this set is haunted too. I couldn't sleep." It's like, shut up.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's nowhere near like what happened in the 70s. But it was still like a fun movie. It was very like back and forth of figuring all this out. I adore this. I'll definitely give it an S.
Okay, so I think we got 3 S's and an A, so that's the first S, by the way, funny enough. I think that we all kind of sabotage each other here and there and a couple other S's, but yeah, that was the first S. So the
Not gonna lie, going through everything, I don't remember what I gave Alien, but I'm almost thinking it should get an A now, but that's just...
I know. I don't remember what I gave it either, but it's sitting in the B rank, and that feels bad. But anyway,
I just feel like shit.
I think because it was the first one, we always grade harder when we start. But
I get it. Yeah, I'm right there.
It is what it is. So the last one in the pre-80s is The Wicker Man. And I'll be honest with you, similar, like, I don't think that you could watch this movie now. I'm not even going to mention the Nick Cage remake, but, because that is trash. Yeah. But the original, like, when I watched it, I was in high school, and I got it on DVD, one of the first DVD re-releases at the time, and I watched it not knowing shit about it. I knew there was a Wicker Man involved because it was on the fucking cover, but I didn't know what that meant. And the ending actually got me. The ending where, like, if you've never seen it, basically, if you've ever seen Midsommar, because a lot of people see Midsommar recently, or Midsummer, how you pronounce that, that's another, it basically, yeah, it's very similar to that, except a lot better. And it stars Christopher Lee. It doesn't involve, it's really good, and it's very accurate, too, for, like, some pagan beliefs and whatnot. But, this is definitely an S. It's a great movie. Everyone should watch it if you have it. And it's based on a book, and the book's like even better. It's very accurate to the book, though, so it's not like it changes anything. But the book just has a lot more detail in, like, you know, the day-to-day life of the island and so on. But it's a really good book. I mean, really good book. Really good movie. It's a good book, too. But I give this an S. What do you think, Jade?
So I've only seen bits and pieces of the original, and I've only seen the Nick Cage one all the way through, which is very silly. But from what I've seen of the original, I remember really liking it. Like, I'm really fascinated by like deep dives into cults and stuff like that. So when they make horror movies like that, I tend to lean more toward that because I'm just like, yeah, there are people like this, and it's fascinating. It's horrifying, but it's fascinating. So based on what I've seen of the original, I'm gonna go with an A.
Okay.
Because it's like the subject matter is fascinating, and I do remember being a little creeped out by a lot of the scenes that I saw.
And I'll admit, I'll admit it's a little cheesy, but I'll never forget the first time I watched it. It's cheesy if you watch it now, and it's a weird line delivery. But there's a scene where they're dragging up the character to like put him in the Wicker Man, and he's all like, "Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ!" He's all screaming like, "Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ!" all over and over again, basically. And like you see the Wicker Man for the first time, and it's this huge wicker thing with animals in it that they're gonna put him in and burn him. And there's no bees, thank God, in this one.
Like real animals, like live animals.
Yeah. The whole point is they're sacrificing a bunch of live things, and they put him in it. And I think he's like, and they're all singing this like song about like the coming spring or whatever the fuck they're singing about. They're singing a pagan-y type song, and then he's like singing like a hymn while he's burning. It's just this crazy like way to end the movie. It's great. It's perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. And like there's no bees. There's nothing campy about it. It's like it's played 100% seriously. I guess it can be kind of campy because it looks kind of silly, but the way that they're like taking it all like the way they are, but it's still realistic for that purpose. I mean, for that same token, I mean to say. Anyways, Jeff, what do you think?
Again, unfortunately, this is a movie I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of an obscure one, and this is probably the most obscure of the entire list.
I also didn't realize that the Nick Cage movie was a remake of The Wicker Man.
Oh, you thought we were just doing the one? You thought we were just doing the Nick Cage?
It was another movie that I'm just like, I'm not gonna deal with that one.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, the Nick Cage one, I'd give it a D, not an F, because it was amusing. But just to throw it out there,
that was a comedy. That's not a horror.
Well, I've been pulling up the Wikipedias for all the movies as they come by, and I'll like do a general read of it, like, and it seems like a really cool movie. And I guess as long as it's well done, I mean, it got a lot of praise and like British press kind of a thing. I think I'm gonna have to abstain again because I just don't feel like
it's actually funny because like
I would be allowed to properly grade it.
Part of the reason why this movie gets some weird stuff about it, because people are like, it's not really a horror movie, and I'm like, I guess it isn't, but it has like fucking Christopher Lee in there, and there definitely are horrific things.
Like the establishment of like full-on horror in the 70s is a little loose.
Exactly. Like people will argue like about stuff like The Exorcist being horror and so on. So that's another reason why I hate The Exorcist. Not to get back on Exorcist bashing. Not to get back on Exorcist bashing, but The Exorcist is the first movie that people are like, that's not really a horror movie. It's a psychological thriller. And I've always hated that term, psychological thriller, because it's always the cop out when you don't want to make your movie like have the bad H word in it. The H word being horror. I'm not trying to throw another H word out there. Not hentai. But anyways, Molly, what do you think?
I wasn't even thinking about that.
I just brought up hentai. Anyway, Molly, what do you think?
I honestly also don't know this movie at all.
You were the one who reminded me about it. I love how you don't know it, but you're the one who reminded me of it.
Yeah, I was just looking up lists of horror movies that were popular. I don't actually know the movie.
Oh my god. Okay.
It does really sound like a lot of like, I know there's a Green Man and a lot of pagan beliefs. It kind of reminds me of that.
It's a great. Everyone should watch it. So, well,
it sounds like a movie I would enjoy.
Well, I feel bad giving.
I trust your guys'.
Yeah, I'll leave it at A because
ranking of it though.
I feel bad giving it an S, like being the only one who's totally familiar with it. So I'll leave it at A, but it's a good solid A. Everyone should go watch it. I don't know if anywhere streaming it. Just
it's popcorn.
I know it's popcorn. So,
Jeff, I thought you were also eating candy corn.
So
I got excited.
No, I saw. I'm just like, oh man, I wish I had candy corn, but I gotta go downstairs to the store and get it. But yeah, I got next best thing.
Oh god.
I'm probably gonna get
my
candy corn.
3-pound bag. This is my second 3-pound bag of the season.
I need to get one done. I need to treat myself.
Okay, so, oh man, we gotta. I mean, I don't mind running that late, but I'm like, oh my god, we're only done with 1/3 of the list. It's been a while, so let's move a little faster again. Even though I said that earlier, I don't think we really did. I just said it. Then I also talk slower. But anyways, An American Werewolf in London. I love this movie to death. It's funny. It's kind of scary. Has one of the best werewolf transformation scenes in the ever, and it's the only werewolf movie on this list. So I'm gonna give it an A.
There aren't that many werewolf movies.
Well, there's the Howling.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Howling. The Howling was the one that I would have put on here. I actually like the Howling more, but the Howling is not as iconic. What I'll never forget about American Werewolf in London has nothing to do with werewolves, but there's this scene where he keeps like having nightmares, and I think he wakes up 3 times, and it's fucking obnoxious. Cause like first he imagines a werewolf doing some shit, so he wakes up. Then he imagines like some monsters like shooting him. Then he wakes up. Then he imagines his like girlfriend's like gonna do something. Then he wakes up, and it's like it's so tiring by the 3rd one, but it still worked. But anyway, I'm gonna give it an A. It's a great movie. It's almost more of a comedy than at parts, though I will admit. And it's probably the only movie that we have on this list that kind of straddles that line. But there you go. An A. What do you think, Jade?
Now I will say with this one, I have not seen enough of it to really have an opinion of it. I've only seen the transformation scene, so I will abstain from giving it a grade. But the transformation scene is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and they play Blue Moon during it, I think. So yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and there's like all sorts of wolf references. Like this is part where he's like not transforming to the werewolf, but he's getting really hungry because he's a wolf, and he's all eating all this food. And they're playing like Bad Moon Rising. So there's all these like puns about like the whole thing. It's very tongue in cheek. What do you think, Geoff?
Another thing that gives me the most score for it, I think. Again, it was practical effects. I love the different stages that he's in. The different parts of like, more man than wolf, then more wolf than man, etc. I do enjoy the fact that it is part comedy, because I love the levity when it comes to things like that. Oh
my god, Molly.
Oh, Gizmo.
There's no gremlins on this list, sorry.
I know, I told you to put it on there.
I had already hit 40 before we got to gremlins.
Okay, we have a gremlin here.
We have a gremlin here. So you were saying, Geoff? You like that it's comedy?
He's the Mugwai. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. I like. Well, honestly, my memory isn't that. I don't have the most memory of it. I remember always liking it. I don't want to judge it too high because I don't even remember the time, so I'll give it a B.
Okay, that's fair. What do you think, Molly? Molly?
Also give it a B.
Okay. You are a B.
A B?
A B, I heard you. Wait for Jade to come back. Though I think that we're...
You're on.
What do you think, Jade?
Of American Werewolf... Oh, of Gizmo?
American Werewolf in London!
Oh, I told you.
Oh wait, you already said a B. You already said a B. Yeah, you're right.
I get Gizmo and S.
Oh,
but
you said you didn't see it. I forgot. There you go. But you liked the transformation.
Yeah.
So that's a solid B then. I forgot you were the first one I asked. So I've been changing it up just to change it up, and that's the problem with changing it up sometimes. I knew it was going to happen eventually. I was going to forget who I asked first. So the next one is Child's Play, and I'm not going to lie. I do like the Chucky movies in general. I would give the whole series. I don't think there's really a weak Chucky movie. There's like ones that aren't... Okay, there's definitely weak ones. There's not a bad Chucky movie in my opinion. But the first one is amazing, and if apparently the first one was meant to be a lot more like mysterious, whether the kid was killing people or whether the doll was, and you can still see some of that in the first part of the movie. The only thing that kills it is that they show Brad Dourif die at the very beginning and him transfer his soul over. But apparently in the earlier drafts of the script, it was meant to be a lot more mysterious, which is why in all the newer movies they make fun of the voodoo stuff. But so keeping that in mind,
I'm sorry about Chucky, real quick.
What?
Wait, Manuel, can I tell my story real quick?
Yeah, and let me give my ranking, then you tell your story and rank it. I give it a B. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. When I
is that Booberry?
Booberry. Sorry, Molly.
Sorry, when you were a child.
It's okay. I remember there was a show I was watching where someone was afraid of Blueberry. Anyways, though, the point is, when I was a kid, I had red hair like I do now, and I would sometimes wear overalls. And apparently, I was wearing overalls when my parents were watching Child's Play, and I was just like running around the house with my red hair and my overalls, and they were like, "Fuck!" Like, Chucky's in our house.
What the fuck? So, what do you give this movie then? Because apparently you are Chucky.
I'll give it
A C for Chucky?
I would the first movie I give a B. The whole series I give a C. Yeah, okay. I guess we can do C for Chucky.
What do you say, Jade?
C for Carrie, C for Chucky.
I'm going to dork out right now. So
okay.
I super love the Child's Play franchise, even the ones that are more silly, like Seed of Chucky. Like, they know exactly what it is. Same with Bride. They're both supposed to be silly. They're very aware of it. They're not taking themselves that seriously. The first two movies were good horror movies, and then I feel like the third one was more of an action slice of life one. So that I feel like that. Dido, please don't knock over my microphone. Sorry, my bad. And then, but yeah, and the third one was more like weird slice of life and action more than it was horror. So I will say, out of the original three, that one was the weaker one. And then I gotta say, I shat on Curse of Chucky before I saw it. When I first saw the trailers for it, I was like, this is gonna be stupid. I hate this. I actually sit down and watch it, and it was so good. Like, this one was like the first scary Chucky movie I had seen in a while, and just the story was good, and I love how basically every movie in the franchise is canon. So it just tied everything together. And yeah, they're cheesy, they're dumb at a lot of times, but because I just love how much love that the creators put into it, I'm giving it a solid A.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
No, I dropped my fan right now. I went to go pick it up.
No!
Oh, shoot. Anyway, what was that ranking? I missed it.
Oh, I gave it a solid A.
Okay. So we got an A, a B, and a C. Did I give it a B or a C? I'll give it a B still. What do you think, Jeff?
I'll agree on the A. The whole movie, just being as weird and quirky as it is, it mixes horror, comedy, like parts that make you just kind of facepalm. Realizing that at the end of the movie, I mean, okay, obviously it's a puppet being possessed by a ghost, but it gets shot in the heart, and that's what kills it. But I love these weird like we talked about before the stream. One of my favorite horror movies is Trilogy of Horror, and that has like a really weird possession.
Yeah, there's a possessed doll thing segment in it, isn't there?
Yeah, and it's like an African Zulu warrior. Even being a funnier thing now, Googling the movie, the director's name is Tom Holland, and I can just picture like.
Oh yeah, they make jokes about
Holland. Little Tom Holland is like directing this movie. I give it an A. I love it. It's really dumb, but it's great.
Okay.
One thing I forgot to add about. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
One thing I forgot to add about Curse of Chucky, what was also really cool is that Chucky is actually Brad Dourif's daughter.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, it's like daughter of Chucky in the movie.
I guess we'll average that out to an A, because there's two A's, a B, and a C, even though technically it goes between A and B. But I kind of feel like I kind of want to give it a straddle the A anyway. Also, I mentioned this on a past podcast we did. I don't think we were talking about horror movies, but one of the scariest things from any movie I remember from my childhood was in Child's Play 2. There's this scene where like he has like a ruler in his hand, and he's like walking towards his teacher to kill her with the ruler, and like that scene where he's walking, just scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Ah!
Like
that was a really menacing walk.
Yeah, I think because I know in the first movie, I think the second one did it too. The first movie definitely had some scenes where it was forced perspective and there was a guy in a suit, and I'm not sure if that was one of the guy in the suit ones because that was a good walk. So it probably was the guy in a suit, in a Chucky suit, like not an animatronic or a model. But anyway, so that goes to a decent A. Next one is Friday the 13th. Now, this one's weird because I wanted to, originally when I thought we'd have more space for this, I wanted to separate this into movies because the first one does not have Jason Voorhees, the second one has Jason Voorhees with the bag on his face, and then the third one is classic Jason, which is probably my favorite one, and then the series has its ups and downs from then on. But as a franchise, and even the first one, even if you ignore the fact that Jason's technically not in it, the first one's still a good movie. I'm gonna give this a very strong B for Kevin Bacon because he is in the first one. A very strong B, just because it's a good movie, and the franchise is okay. Yeah, that's fair. What do you think, Jade?
I would 13th. That one is one of the few slashers that didn't really stick with me that much. I remember I really liked the first one, and I remember seeing the second and third one and being okay with them, but they were entertaining. Good gore, good suspense in certain areas. So I would say for me personally, I would give it a high C.
Okay.
I never cared that much for the Friday the 13th.
To be honest, that's fair. And I've always thought that this was the weaker of all the franchises. It was the most exploitive, like in terms of the characters and everything, So yeah. What do you think, Molly?
What did I give Halloween?
You gave it... I don't know, but Halloween's ranked at the B's right now. And I definitely think Halloween deserves better than this one.
Let's give it a C.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I'm changing mine to a C
once again,
too.
Not really into slashers, but as I said earlier, it's like the trilogy of like the iconic movie villains, and he's one of them, so...
Yeah, we have a lot of slashers in this whole little ranking coming up, by the way. Just to warn you in advance. What do you think, Geoff?
Agreed. It's definitely one of the weaker ones. I do like how it, the series as it builds, but yeah, I'll give it a C. I think one of my favorite things, especially learning from, I don't know how true it is, but in my head, it's definitely headcanon that
oh yeah.
In this movie, because it's not Jason, it's actually Jason's spirit going kill Mom. So it's like telling Mom to kill everybody.
It's funny. I suppose that is true, and it's funny because they still kept that in the other movies, and it's like so he's telling himself now. So it's a weird thing. To me, it's almost like it's like memory for him. Yeah.
Like it's kind of like how ghosts in some things, if they're in limbo, they go through a loop of sorts. That's maybe it.
Okay. So that's a solid C from everyone. I think I changed mine to a C, by the way. I don't know if everyone heard that. Oh, it's a cat. I saw a cat.
Oh yeah, that's a cat.
So the next one is Hellraiser, and
I thought you would give it a C for Camp Crystal Lake. But...
Oh,
there you go.
I use that as well. Also, the Camp Crystal Lake background's been like killing my camera for over an hour now. But now Hellraiser. Now this is weird. First of all, there's only the first Hellraiser movie is really good. There's like 8 sequels. They made one like last year, I think. So just to go on the franchise, I'm gonna lower the grade before I even start, just to mention that. But I also, even though the Hellraiser is like a really good movie, I love Clive Barker to death. And I will admit, his stuff is usually really gory and abstract, and they can't really be translated to film. But this one came so close, and then copped out on certain things that always bothered me. So I'm gonna give this a C, just because it had potential to be a really, 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 really perfect adaptation. And also, I ranked it. It would still be a B, but I ranked it a grade lower because all the sequels suck. All the sequels suck. Please stop. Please stop. Just like Amityville, please stop watching these. Don't give them your money. And yeah, so this is a C. Also, yeah, I love the puzzle box, but it's still a C because it has to live with what it created. What do you think, Molly?
I'm not gonna lie, the only thing I remember from this movie, and it's like very vaguely that I remember it, is him talking to like a bunch of other monsters.
Oh yeah,
is there a point where that happens?
Yeah, there's a whole thing
where they're all just like sitting there talking, and I don't even remember what they were talking about, but I remember really liking that part because it was just like.
Because it was just talking.
Was
yeah,
just,
that makes
not
sense.
Really what you expect from a horror movie.
Yeah, because
it's not what you expect from a horror movie. Like, you don't expect the antagonist to be like humanized, I guess, in that way. Like, I'm like, oh, here's him with like his buddies, kind of. And I do understand that's probably because it is based on the. Is it a novel or a comic?
Well, it's like it's a novella. I think if you were getting really specific, but it is a novel. Because it's like 100 pages or something like that. 120
so it's
pages.
not like pictures.
No, it's not pictures. It's definitely a book.
But yeah, but I like it also because it's very like Gaiman-esque to me, or Gaiman-esque to me.
Oh,
really
yeah.
Like, Gaiman stuff. And it has a lot of that same feel.
C for Clive.
Where like it is horror, but I feel like it's almost more. It's more surreal than horror. I don't know.
Fair.
To me, I really like it though. I would say I would still give it an A.
That's such a huge disparity. I mean, well, to be fair, I technically would have given it an A if it like fixed a few of my issues. Actually, I would have given it a B because you can't fix the issues of a 30-year-old movie.
I haven't read the book, so.
No, honestly, it's a little unfair for me to say that because there have been tons of books that I did not even mention the book comparison, but this one is such a perfect translation of the book, except in like a few key areas that it could have. I don't know why they changed it. They went all out and everything else. But they decided like, ooh, that's just a little much. It's like, why? You fucking have everything else here. Anyway, what do you think, Jade?
Yeah, I remember very little of it, but I remember the first one being really good, but then there were certain things about it where I was just like, oh, you could have done that just a little bit better. And I, just like with Molly, I specifically remember the part where he's talking to all the other monsters.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that was so cool. The makeup in that movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And also for the cultural impact, it's weird because Hellraiser is not one that I often think about, but when I see references pop up outside of Pinhead, I know what they are. Like in a couple Jonan Vasquez comics, he'll like throw nods to it, which I think is really cool. And I know like a couple other comic book artists that I follow have like made references to it. I'm like, oh, I know what that is. But yeah, just for the cultural impact and just like the practical effects and just how cool it is, I'm gonna give it a B as well.
Yeah, and there's also like a weird sort of like BDSM subculture that grew up around it. That's a whole topic for another day.
Oh yeah, but before the stream, I mentioned like, yeah, it's the 9 Inch Nails horror movie.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Jeff?
While I'm not super, I don't terribly remember this movie so much. I do really appreciate the character design of like Pinhead and things like that. Every memory I do have of the movie is positive, even though I know that like subsequent movies I'm just like, I'm probably not gonna watch you. I think the nicest thing I can do for it is give it a B, honestly.
What did you give it, Jade? I forgot what you said.
I gave it a B.
Okay, so 2 B's. What were you gonna say? Jeff, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Honestly, that's pretty much it. It's like, it's very much nostalgia nowadays of just like, it's not my, it's not something I super follow, but I did enjoy it from the memories that I have. Yeah,
once again, I'm kind of grading this one a little harsh just for reasons, but I do think it's a really great movie. I don't know why. Like, I swing back and forth grading harsher on one versus others. I don't know why. Now, the next one's a really simple one for me to just grade. It's on there because it's kind of iconic if you grew up in the 90s, if you, like, were in the slasher movie craze that was going on there. It's I Know What You Did Last Summer. And what I loved about this one is that it was based on a book, but one of those, like, those teen novels, like, kind of like, not like R.L. Stein's Goosebumps books, but like his Fear Street books. Like there's a whole thing of those, like, you know, the teen. He also wrote before he did all that stuff. He wrote like teen novels like Blind Date and like just standalone teen horror novels. And I Know What You Did Last Summer was one of those, but it was written in the 70s, and like it involved this guy who came back from Vietnam, and I think he was the killer. And it was just this weird. I just thought it was so. When I heard they were making that into a movie, I'm like, how are they gonna do that? And they did it by not keeping any of that.
Of course.
So just because I mentioned the book last time, I wanted to mention it again. But I'm gonna give this one a solid D. I liked it growing up, but it is the epitome of forgettable. It's the epitome of forgettable. It's the epitome of like, just we need to make money, and we have all these young stars like Ryan Phillippe. Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar, you know, Jennifer Love Hewitt, and Freddie Prinze Jr. It's like, and Freddie Prinze Jr. without Matthew Lillard, might I add. So, so yeah, it's it has all the names in there. I just, you know, didn't care for it, so it's a solid D. What do you think, Jeff?
Never watched it.
I mean, honestly, I might as well not have either. I think I watched it maybe twice. Twice.
Who is there a killer? Are they just all stupid, like fake teenagers?
Okay, I'm gonna kill the plot for you right now, because the only reason I watched it twice is because I had to watch it twice because I didn't get it. So they run over a guy in like the driving somewhere. They're drunk driving. They run into a guy. They think he's dead. So they get rid of his body, throw it in the ocean. It turns out though that the guy they killed was not. Did the call just die? Oh, everyone froze. Okay, it's gone. It came back. No, everyone did freeze though.
No, I just got frozen because I'm thinking about it.
Anyway, but yeah, that was the plot. And then basically he was already a killer, and he killed them just because he just killed them. So yeah, it was just a stupid ass plot. I hated it. When I first watched it the first time, I watched it when I was really young, rented it like the first year it came out, when I was like in middle school or something. And I remember watching it like, what's going on? Then I watched it when I was in high school, and I was like, oh, this movie's shit. I get it now, but I don't really want to. I actually like the sequel a little better because it's more cheesy.
There's a sequel?
There's 3 of these, believe it or not.
I still know what you did last summer.
And there's
I'll always
know what you did last summer.
I know what you did last summer. I know what you did the summer before last summer.
So this
I always know what you do during summer.
Yeah, get the fuck.
I know what you did last
the 2020 version is just, I know what you did last summer. You were at home all summer. Molly, what do you think?
Wait, why are people talking about Story of Seasons in chat?
Fundamental channel. Okay,
it's weird.
Spend an hour zoning. Oh,
who knows?
But the book of, oh my god, they're still going on about Story of Seasons. Anyways, the Book of Friends.
Honestly, I abstain because I don't care.
Okay. Gets a what?
This movie gets an F.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna move it to an F too.
Hey!
Because after I explained it again, I'm like, why did I even give it a D? You know what? I'm gonna give it a D, because I will admit, when I was younger, I kind of had like, you know, that kind of like movie star crush on like both Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
What the heck? This show had like a good cast.
Yeah, no, it was completely A-list. So I will leave it at the D. I'll leave it at the D. Anyways, Jay, what do you say? Because that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking with then. But
I do not care for I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's
he just got what I said. Anyways,
I just like Jade, just like I fucking care.
Oh yeah, it's fair.
Because also it came out. I feel like it came out around the same time as Scream did.
Yeah.
And I remember I loved Scream. I still love Scream. Yeah. And Scream is supposed to be a satire, first of all.
Yep.
And then I'm watching I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it's just like the story's bullshit. I don't like any of the characters, and I mean, like, the only reason I'm giving it a slightly higher grade than I want to is because of the nostalgia, because when I think 90s horror, I'm like, oh yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I'm gonna give it a very low D, like a D minus.
So I think it's a solid D then. And I'm not gonna lie, the only reason I gave it a D very similarly was like my mild nostalgia for having like, you know, one of those like movie star crushes. And that's like, honestly, I kind of forgot all about that, so I was thinking about that this second. I'm like, I remember kind of liking them, you know, at the time, so that's worth the grade. And that's probably why I watched it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even have bothered. I never was a huge fan of like the generic 90s slashers, and there were tons of those. But yeah, like you said, it is iconic for the time though. So the next one is Nightmare on Elm Street. Speaking of iconic slashers, I love the first trilogy, the first 3 movies. They're amazing in different ways. The second one's the gay one, quote unquote, where it's all the gay undertones, which apparently weren't as like accidental as people thought. Like, you know, like people were like, oh yeah, it was kind of just, we kind of all intended to put some gay undertones in there because like the guy was like in the closet or whatever, the main character, and there's all these lines that are very clearly like they had to have known what they're saying here. But and then Dream Warriors is when it starts getting funny, but it's not bad funny yet. And then the first one's just a horror movie. And I mentioned it when going back to my scariest scenes of all time as a kid, when the hall monitor, and it's not even Jason, it's not even Freddy, when the hall monitor is like, where's your hall pass? And she's like fuck you, and she runs off, and he turns around and the hall monitor has the Freddy glove, and that scared the shit out of me. And it's funny because it's not even Freddy, it's the hall monitor just with the I mean, clearly is meant to be like, oh, Freddy's taking her over and she was dreaming. But yeah, so I'm gonna give this a good solid A. The only reason to get an S is because it does have some cheese, and the series got pretty bad at points. But I give this a good solid A. What do you think, Jeff? Nightmare Elm Street.
Okay, so grading it just as the movie itself, being standalone, the original one, this is for me top tier S because cheese. I love the cheese. I love the way the movie moved on. Like all the different scary parts were there. It was very like modern scary for the time, and even has a good translation to now. To the point where I would never watch the new one compared to the old one.
Oh yeah, the new one's shit.
I hate the new one.
I didn't even see it. I was really excited for like Jackie Earle Haley to play Freddy. Then I saw Freddy, and I just decided no. But yeah, top tier blood, guts, gore, cheese. You know, it made people afraid to go to sleep. This is an S for me, hands down.
Okay, that's fair. What do you think, Jade?
I also super love the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Like, honestly, the only movie out of the series I don't like is the second one, and that's
really?
only because it's like,
okay.
It's the first one. The thing is, like, the first one, you still get a sense that, like, even though Freddy's like still being horrifying and he's not that funny, you get a sense of personality from him. Whereas in the second one, it's just like, hi, I'm possessing you to kill everybody. Like, okay.
And he jumps into the real world in that one, starts like killing people at a party, and then starts like cutting up everyone or whatever. Possesses the main character. Yeah, I forgot about that. I only remember.
Yeah, but
there's a scene with the witch fingers where he finds them in the cereal. The little girl puts on the witch fingers, and I don't know why. I'm still scared of. I still have this irrational fear of the witch fingers to this day because of that. It's not even a scary scene, but she does it anyway. Keep going.
Yeah, sometimes you hang on to those things though. Totally get it. But yeah, it's like even the like silly cheesy ones. I'm also with Jeff. I love cheese. Like, I love cheese when they know they're being cheesy. You know that, like, they're not taking themselves seriously and they're just having fun, and you know it, and you just feel the vibe from that. And one of my favorite moments is actually from the sixth one, Freddy's Dead, and it's at the very beginning of the movie where this character Carlos falls asleep and he's surrounded by the Thomas Guide everywhere, and he's trying to check the map, and then it just says you're fucked, and then they're like, then he wakes up and he's like freaking out, and like everyone else doesn't care. They're like, Carlos, what does the map say? He's like, the map fucked. Yeah, the map says we're fucked. I remember that. I remember that's so good. That like, it was great.
That's funny. That's fucking funny.
It's actually funny because I only watched the first. I mentioned this in the past. I only watched the first 2 Nightmare on Elm Streets on I had recorded them, or somebody in my family had recorded them off a TV, so they were TV edits, and I watched that tape to death. But it was Freddy's Dead because I had a family member who owned a video store, and it was Freddy's Dead that I saw for the first time, like unedited. I hadn't seen any movie in between, and that movie still kind of scared me too because I was still young enough that it's like, oh, people are dying, you know, and there's so many iconic lines in there. Johnny Depp's in that one too. Nobody ever knows.
Yeah,
nobody ever talks about that. Like he was in that one also.
I think he credited himself differently.
Oh, that's like, but he was making fun of the drug commercials. Like, this is your egg. This is your egg on drugs. Or I mean, your egg. This is your brain. This is your egg on drugs. I'm on drugs. Anyways,
yeah, but yeah, I give it an S.
Okay, two S's in a day.
I love Nightmare.
Oh my god, that was pretty funny. This is your egg on drugs. I remember that one. Molly, what do you think? I'm still laughing about the egg.
I give it an A. I think of the like the trilogy of like the iconic whatever like 80s 90s movies with I think this one's my favorite. It's like the creepiest, it's the scariest like premise in my mind because it's like sleep it, you have to do that and that's when he attacks you. But I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was also gonna say it has a really iconic theme song, but I was mixing up the theme song for Halloween and for this one.
No, this one does have an iconic theme song too. It has two.
Of the songs.
No, this one has two. First of all, there is a nightmare like theme. I can't do it because I can't like remember the tune. Can't do music that well, like humming it. But there is an iconic theme, and then there's also the 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your, there's the, well, that's not the song, but there's that too. There is a theme. There is a Freddy theme that is really iconic.
Well, I still think the two most iconic horror movie songs are probably Tubular Bells from The Exorcist and the Halloween.
Oh, so what'd you give this one? Oh my god.
It's a lot slower than that.
Yeah, I know you're doing like the jazz remix.
Yeah, give it an A.
Okay, so I think I'll leave them with an S because my A I think was only brought down because of like some of the other cheese.
I'm okay with it being an S.
By the way, the cheese I mentioned about the first one is the first one has there's one scene that always took me out the movie, and it's the part where like the mom is killed and she like lowers into the bed. And it's the most staged theatrical scene ever because first of all, it's clearly just I realize you can't see what I'm doing, but it's clearly a motorized thing where she just lowered into the bed like a trap door. But then you even see it like jerk when it starts, like like it's just a normal, like if you ever worked on a theatrical production where like the stage lowers, it's just that. But the effect was so terrible, and it even jerked. I'm like, could they not have fixed the first? Could they not have had the thing running already before they started filming? Anyway, that scene takes me out of the movie. There's also a part where Freddy is like his tongue is through the phone. He's like gonna lick you and shit like that. And the most infamous one of all, which I don't know why he did it, like in context of the dream, where he stretches his arms to like scratch either side of the wall. But it's kind of it's a really bad effect where it's just like he just stretches his arms. I have no idea what he was trying to accomplish. It would have been a lot scarier if he just hugged one wall and scratched along it. I just don't understand what contextually, movie-wise, like
trying to show people what he can do.
But yeah, I just don't get that part. Like
trying to show people like I can reach you.
I just found, and he never does it again. He never like goes all Dalsim and like tries to get after you like that again. So like that was just a one-time effect. Two things right now, guys. I don't know. I don't know if we want to like meet back at the same bat channel because we are 2 hours in and we're literally halfway through it, or we just soldier on and move a little faster. I'm a little on both camps.
Take a bathroom break.
You want to just soldier on and just keep moving on?
I mean, I got nothing to do today.
Then fine, let's soldier on and keep moving on.
Other than like, I was gonna get some dinner at some point, but that's kind of it.
Okay. Well, let's move a lot faster after this. We'll just rank and like, unless we have a really good story, we'll share that. But I think I'll stop mentioning my BSC stuff, and let's take a small break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll just move faster.
Okie doke.
Okay. Because I need to go to the bathroom myself too.
Oh yeah. Will you be back?
Oh yeah. How long do we want to take?
Oh, just like a couple minutes.
Okay. Snacks. Oh, I wonder if there's. See now, Molly. Now I want to go downstairs and see if there's a. What's that called? candy corn at the
Do you live up a
liquor
store?
store. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You live up a liquor store?
Yeah. There's a liquor store downstairs, and I want to see if curious now.
No, posture check.
It's funny because I sat down right when you said that, so I'm like, oh shit. You can't. I like how you
They
can't
just
see me.
redeemed it.
Let me just try to fix my camera.
It's one of our things that people can redeem.
Yeah, let me see if I can
For
fix my
100
camera
points, they
while
can
waiting
make
for
a
everyone to come
posture
back.
check.
I gotta raise the points for that. That's why everyone keeps doing that one like constantly, because it's like only 100 points. So like
Well, I mean, it's a good thing to do.
I know people spam that one. I'm sure you see it. People spam that one sometimes, where it's like they redeem it like 20 times. I'm like, what do we even do at that point? So yeah, I think we could totally soldier through this. I just think that we got a little carried away with some of the earlier ones. Oh look, my camera's moving again on its own. I didn't even have to like restart it. Let me fix my mask though.
Oh my god, Manuel has a face that moves.
Apparently all I had to do was restart the program and the camera just came back. I don't know why it keeps crashing though. This has nothing to do with the internet. It's just another program. But yeah, and to be honest, when we start getting to the 2000s ones, I don't like most of those, so I'll just be like F, 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 F for Gizmo. That's also John Landis. We were talking about John Landis in the chat. Him and his son have a really bad rep around Hollywood for just being like assholes and maybe worse. Especially his son.
He did Gremlins?
Yeah. And he did Gremlins, he did American Werewolf in London.
What does his son do? 'Cause I read what he did, but not what his son did.
His son's been accused of like, you know, all sorts of like I don't want to name specifics because mainly because I don't remember all the specifics, but a lot of women have said like oh, he's done stuff to me, you know, like, you know, stuff like that. And he has a really bad rep in general.
What about the...
Oops. Oh, that was Molly because I heard it happen, didn't see who it was.
Oh, you fixed your camera.
I just looked at the... Oh no, did Jade have to go?
No, I think she's just I think her camera just maybe her computer restarted or something. She didn't come back and do it. Like it just happened. Also, John Landis on the set.
I just read about the Jeepers Creepers guy too. That's like a whole nother.
Oh yeah. Well, that one's crazy because like that happened before Jeepers Creepers, admittedly.
That's like another level.
But people keep hiring him. Like even before Jeepers Creepers, I'm like, who? Like it just kind of like. But yeah, FYI, Jeepers Creepers guy is a convicted pedophile, and the case, the guy who wrote and directed the Jeepers Creepers trilogy. Also, he not only was he a convicted pedophile, but it happened on a set of one of his movies. But yet he kept getting jobs. Like in the second he was out of jail, he already had like more jobs in Hollywood, which is insane. Yeah, and John Landis killed some kids on the Twilight Zone movie. That's the other thing that I was trying to say earlier.
Oh, Victor Salva? Yeah.
He killed he killed some people. And who else was there? Who else did I say earlier? Oh, the Roman Polanski. Like that's a whole. Honestly, I don't remember the details of that either. But like I think that's also like there's a lot of levels to that story. But you can look that up too. Like there's a lot of assholes in Hollywood. That's like unfortunately I think that's just
that's a surprise.
Yeah, unfortunately I just think that's Hollywood for you.
Yeah.
Rip. I think that she came back right now. I think she'll probably notice her camera's off.
Well, it looks like she's not even on Discord.
Oh really?
Oh my god, that was like it looks like she signed off.
Oh, well, like I said, maybe her computer restarted. We'll find out. We'll know soon enough. Let me see. She says, oh, she saw. Oh wait, Molly's roommate must be practicing her magics again. What? Oh, there we go.
There she is.
What?
Can you see?
What about me? What?
Oh, in the chat, I don't know. Somebody sawed Molly in half.
You said my roommate? What?
Yeah, somebody sawed you in half.
When?
Is it working now?
Your camera isn't.
Yes.
We hear you. There we go.
Wait,
Yay!
who saw me in half?
Hey.
My Discord sorry about that. My Discord froze on my computer, and also apparently my cat was walking on my keyboard because there's just the number 1 over and over and over again in the chat.
No, it's funny because I was like, something happened because like you weren't there and it just stopped. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on back to the list. Like I said, we'll move a little faster. Next one up is Poltergeist, and I'll be straight up with you. I just think this movie is the epitome of meh. I didn't hate it, didn't like it. It's right up there. What was the other one I said this earlier about? I think I said it about actually I don't remember what it was. But it's Carrie. That's what I said it about. So this is a straight up C. That's it. Jeff, what do you think?
Which movie are we talking about?
Poltergeist. I almost said Poltergeist, which is the trauma parody sort of it. But no, Poltergeist.
There's so much.
Have you ever seen?
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
Yeah.
That's fair. What do you think, Jade?
What?
Lukewarm on Poltergeist. I remember when I was a kid, I loved it. Like, it was one of those horror movies that I didn't find scary, even with all the like things that should scare the crap out of a kid. I honestly would give it a high C. Like, I enjoy it, but it's like I won't go out of my way to watch it. It's one of those things.
I think Molly's gonna give it an S. What do you say, Molly?
In freaking iconic. First of all, that they're back, which isn't actually a thing. That's like an iconic line. Second of all, I know that's the second one. This movie it's like one of those movies where the set was very cursed and like the girl ended up dying. I don't think that was actually, did she have cancer? I really didn't have anything to do with it. But like apparently all the skeletons when they're in, like the pool,
That's not true. That's not true. That's been found to be not true.
Skeletons? Oh, they weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't actual real skeletons.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, I think this is a good movie, even though it's not really what a poltergeist in lore. It really does. Like poltergeists are more just like tricksters. They aren't. Anyway, so I would give this a B or an A. I'm giving it an A.
Okay, so that means a solid. No, that's still a C. No, never mind. It was only 2 C's. Yeah, that's a B. Okay, but that's a grudging B. I wish I'd give it a D now.
This is also one of the first scary movies. This is one of the first scary movies I ever saw, besides The Haunting, which my dad let me watch when I was 7, which was a mistake. He should not have let me watch that movie when I was 7.
But similar to The Exorcist, I just didn't find it scary. Like Jade was saying, I just didn't find it scary. Now the next one is Scream. Now this one is mad iconic even for a slasher, and I always found it stupid that Scary Movie was like a spoof of this, because this was like the spoof already. They spoofed the spoof, and it just blew my mind. But that said, I loved it. I loved it to death. It has some cheesy moments, but then again, the movie was sending up slashers anyway, so you can't really judge it on that. This one is a solid A. I would almost say S, but it's a solid A. You know what? I'm gonna give it an S because it definitely was iconic for my age group too. Like I was like, middle. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have been watching it, but it was still middle school when I was watching it. But like, definitely I was in high school when the series really came to. I remember being in high school when like Scream 3 came out, and that was like the new one, or just out of high school sometime around then. And this was very much like the series I grew up on, so I'm gonna give it an S for Scream. There you go. I also love they had an in-universe Scream called Stab. But anyways, Jade, what do you think?
I'll have to give it an S too, just because here's the thing, like, Scream gets super cheesy as hell, but the thing is, because it's satire, like, everyone is very aware of what Scream is, and that's just what it's about. And it's like, I mean, I will say Matthew Lillard may take it up a little too much in that movie, where I'm just like, okay, dude, chill. But I love Scream. It's for nostalgia and just, and again, just because it knows what it is. It's a satire of slashers, but it still kind of works as like, oh, like a horror movie. But yeah, I give it an S for Scream.
What do you think, Molly?
Is Jamie Lee Curtis in Scream as well?
No.
No.
There's no one, I think, old iconic in this one. Well, the Fonz is in it. The Fonz plays the...
Oh yeah, Henry Winkler's in it.
Oh, Henry Winkler.
Yeah. We give it a B? God damn it, Molly. Anyways, what do you give it?
Yeah.
What do you give it, Jeff?
Okay, I'm gonna admit I had no idea this was like kind of like satire on on like horror movies. I thought this was just like some dude doing a silly horror movie take, because then that means that like Scary Movie is a parody on a parody.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
So I was never into it. I always thought the movie was kind of like it was never really scary to me. So I mean, I'll give us, but I mean, I do get that it you know, it did a lot of good for what it was. So I mean, I'd give it a C.
Wow. Well, I think that averages. Well, it averages out between an A and a B, so I'll leave that at an A because there were 2 S's. But oh my god, I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised you guys didn't like this movie that much.
It's not that I didn't like it; it's just it didn't impress me.
Yeah, I guess that is fair. And honestly, it's kind of like the horror movie fans' horror movie. I think that if you didn't already watch a shit ton of them by the time you watched it, and you kind of had to watch it at the time too. I don't think it ages that well. But
No.
Oh yeah, it doesn't age well, but it's still a lot of fun.
Speaking of ones that didn't age too well, it's the Blair Witch Project. Now, real fast, I'll say this only because this one I mad grew up on. This was like, I think I was just leaving junior high, just going to high school around-ish, and you can't watch this movie anymore because it doesn't. Like at the time when this movie came out, there was websites, there were mini documentaries, there were things they showed on TV, there were featurettes on the websites that you would watch. Then you'd watch the movie, and then it would all kind of tie together, and you can't watch it that way anymore. That just doesn't, you literally can't. Like, these sites don't exist anymore. But, so watching the movie by itself, it's terrible. That said, there was also a hype that I will admit fed into it. I actually like the sequel way better because it's like a nice cheesy, movie.
The sequel's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, and there's like the really goth chick who's like just super 90s goth that I love. But anyways, all that aside, I'm gonna give this a solid B. It loses it because I admit it's aged terribly, but I loved it growing up, and also you can't watch it the same way again. And I hate what they're doing with the franchise now. They're basically like just spooky woods movie.
Doing stuff?
Well, they surprisingly released one in 2017 called just Blair Witch, and it has nothing to do with anything. They just, honestly, everyone suspects that it was just its own movie. They just slapped the Blair Witch title on it to sell more. But anyways, what do you think, Jade?
Be real with you.
B. Sorry, I don't know if I said that, but yeah, go on. I see.
I'll be
B. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll be real, I don't like found footage movies.
Yeah.
I get bored of them really, really quickly. Like, I actually fell asleep through every single Paranormal Activity I saw.
Thank you.
So, I like the second one okay, like, just because it's a guilty pleasure movie that, it's a popcorn movie, basically. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give Blair Witch a D. I don't really care for it, personally.
I mean, that's fair. I think I actually gave it a C, but I'm going to move it up to a B right now. I mean, because I think I said C first time, but it's definitely a B for Blair Witch. What do you think, Jeff?
As a movie, I'd give it an F. I don't care for it.
Ooh.
As what it did for cinema, found footage, shaky cam, I will say that it did produce a lot of garbage.
That's fair.
But I feel that if it weren't for Blair
So it's also an F.
Wait, what?
No, keep going. She said it's also an F.
So it's also an F.
Yeah. Okay. I think the only, like, I loved the first Cloverfield, which was a shaky cam kind of found footage movie. I think if it weren't for Blair Witch, wouldn't have Cloverfield. So that's a saving grace. So I'll give it a D.
Okay, so 2 Ds and a B. It's odd. Molly, what do you think? I mean, I was expecting low grades. Everyone hates Blair Witch.
Right in the middle. This is one where, like, literally they gave them less and less food as they were filming. The directors and the producers would, like, go in and, like, shake their tents and stuff at night. Whoa. They would give them maps that weren't correct. like they were actually like that's why you can see the actors getting like more and more upset as it's going on, because they were actually like more and more upset as it was going on. So this was a movie that like very much so. Actually, almost just because of that, I'd give it a D, because it's like I understand that that's like a really good way to like, or not a good way, but it's a way to like get real reactions out of people. But like to me, that's just like almost like, I don't know, like don't treat your actors that way. So I'll give it like a D+ because of that.
Okay, I have it straddling C
but I think
and
it's
D.
like if someone is, well, this is almost like what was that thing that Pleiades did? Is the like the games, the alternate universe games, or what was it called?
The ARGs?
Wait, what?
Alternate reality.
Yeah, the ARGs.
Yeah, it sounds almost like an ARG, like with what you said, where it's like, oh, you could like go on.
Yeah,
and, like, watch it in other places.
Exactly,
all,
like that shit doesn't exist anymore. So yeah. It was weirdly, no one ever talks about that stuff, probably because nobody experienced that part. Maybe I was the only one. I mean, there were millions, I'm sure, but like most people don't remember that part, or you know, or people discovered it later on video, and they're like, oh, this isn't that, you know, which it isn't. I'll admit. I'll talk about found footage movies a bit later on when we get to Paranormal Activity, but let's move on to Evil Dead. Now I'll admit right now, this movie got me into like gore stuff. I just love the movie, even though like some of the gore is really bad, because I watched it a bit more recently. But watching this as a kid, and by the time of the original, the remake's okay too, and Evil Dead 2 is a lot more funnier and cheesy. But the original is just amazing. This is a solid S, especially because I know I'm probably gonna be the only S, so I'm gonna give it a solid S just so it stays high. And that's it. There was a point when this was my favorite movie of all time, like in my life. There was a point in my life where The Evil Dead was my favorite movie. Like people would ask me, I'm like, The Evil Dead, and I would just tell them that'd be my favorite movie. It isn't anymore, but still, and I don't know really what is, but just there was a point where this was it. What do you think? What do you think, Jeff?
S. Solid S.
Oh shit!
Wait.
Okay.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's great. This as a movie, it's great. As a series, it's fucking phenomenal.
Mhm.
Really good.
What do you say, Jade?
I am an Evil Dead fangirl.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I thought everybody would rank this lower. Here I am, like.
Yeah, I super love Evil Dead. It's one of my favorite.
I love when my camera froze again. Look at the eye. Anyways, keep going.
But yeah, just it's just so fun. Solid S. Just all the love that went behind it, because it's a passion project. Like Sam Raimi's just like, I just want to make a movie with my friends. Like, and like the gore is fun. The silliness is perfectly silly. I just love it so much. S all the way.
Nice. What do you think, Molly?
I have not seen this movie.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Well, you don't get a rating.
Is it a zombie movie though, or is it like zombies, but they don't actually call them zombies?
It's more possession.
It's like
Yeah, kinda
zombie.
like demon.
Okay.
Yeah, demons more.
Demon.
Yeah.
It's definitely more demon.
Okay, so it's like demon. Okay, it's definitely something that I think I want. Because I just read it and it sounded kind of zombie-esque by the way that I
It has that feel.
Yeah. I definitely see how people could like
but I do.
interpret it.
Well, because they literally raised the dead.
Yeah.
But I would just like to say that like when you know how if you look up a movie on Google, it will tell you like people also searched for movies.
Yeah.
If you look up The Evil Dead, so it's The Evil Dead, then The Walking Dead, and then 50 Shades of Grey.
What?
The fuck?
Why is that the third one? Look,
The hell?
50 Shades of Grey.
Whoa.
it's right there. It's 50 Shades of Grey.
Anyways, if somebody
And then
goes,
Alright.
I give
And
50 Shades of Grey an
this
S.
is on this list of actually also bad.
Well,
Anyways, so I'm gonna abstain, but I trust your guys' judgment.
we'll leave it at S. The next one is The Shining. Now, I don't like The Shining. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I won't go into it. I think it's a boring movie.
The scariest part of that movie is I'm actually not gonna say. It's really mean. Never mind.
Oh, well, honestly, like, even the part where the guy comes, even where the guy comes and like goes to rescue them and he dies, he gets killed like right away. Which, by the way, does not happen in the book. But even that scene was shocked a lot of people. Like, I was just like, oh, does this mean it ends faster? Like, I legit, I tried to watch it again more recently. This is the epitome of like that kind of horror movie And I apologize right now if it's one of your guys' favorite movies, but there's a few movies like this where I think it was almost invented, like almost as like I'm like, does anyone really? Because most people I talk to, they're like, oh my god, it's so boring. Like, but then there's always those hardcore horror movie fans who are like, oh yeah, The Shining's the best movie ever made, kind of thing. The way it's shot, the way it's pacing. It's like this circle jerk of like these hardcore horror fans who just like this movie so that they could, sound elitist over some other people. But I hate this movie. It's an F.
Photography is good.
It's an F. Like I just can't. Like I literally have fallen asleep watching this more than once. I just don't like it. It's an F. It's literally. It's why I talk shit about The Exorcist and like other stuff, but I still like those movies. I just feel they're overdone. This one, no. I don't like it, and it's overdone. So yeah, it's an F. Jade, what do you think?
It used to be a solid C for me, because it's like, yeah, it is kind of boring. Like, creepy children are one of the things that really get me, so that would always freak me out when I would watch it. But I honestly can't look at that film the same way anymore after hearing what Kubrick did to Shelley Duvall.
Oh, yeah!
127 times!
Yeah, I forgot about that!
Like, I can't look at that movie the same. There was a lot of on-set abuse with her.
Yeah.
Just, like, there's a lot to unpack with what happened to Shelley Duvall. Like, I know that Kubrick would purposely be extremely shitty to her, and then when she was crying, he would purposely tell the other cast members and staff to not help her, not do anything for her. So all the times where she's, like, upset and distraught in the movie, that's all real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he purposely did that so she would give the bigger performance, but ultimately, like, yeah, she did not recover well from that.
No.
What do you
yeah, I have to give it a D now, mainly because of that.
Fair.
Because it's like I used to like the film, it used to be a C, but yeah, after finding all that out, it was just like I can't look at that movie the same. It has to be a D for me.
What do you think, Molly? I know you like these haunting ones. Molly? She froze. What do you think,
Sorry.
Geoff? Oh, I thought she froze. No, she was just reading.
No.
Okay.
Well, it is based on like a hotel that's supposedly actually haunted. I do like parts of the movie, and I think that there's definitely like really iconic moments. But I also agree that it's not really that scary. And there's definitely parts of it that they like throw in parts from the book that just aren't explained. Like there's the part where you see like the bear and the guy, like the person in like the dog suit or the bear suit or whatever, and he's like giving a blowjob to the guy, like you can barely see it, and it just never explains why there's a person in an animal suit like having sexual relations with a human.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so there's definitely, and like the twins, that's like a really iconic thing. So I think I'll give it a C.
A C. And we're going up the letters. What did you say, Geoff?
Fucking boring.
Thank you.
I think it's great for the references. I cannot stand. I couldn't stand like seeing everything that had happened during production. I watched it with a friend, and I was bored to death. I knew to wake up around the certain times that I liked it. And then I went back to sleep. I could only give it... Honestly, as a production person, I specifically am a person that knows to treat my talent very well, because the better you treat them, the better they'll treat you. Knowing how he treated, how he treated her and everything like that, I can only give this an F.
Okay, I'll go ahead and say this is, even though there is a D and a C in there, I will give this an F, I think, because it deserves it. And once again, I guess I'm ignoring Molly. I didn't even mean for that to happen, but it turns out that's what I did again. Sorry, Molly. The second one wasn't intentional. The first one was. I forgot what movie that even was. Oh, is that Manuel? It's both F's so far. Both F's. I've ignored Molly. The next. Yeah, I think Molly's totally frozen. The next one, Silence of the Lambs. Now this is there she goes. This is a weird one because Silence of the Lambs, like I watched it when it first came out, and then I just forgot about it. Even though everyone loves it, I liked it. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was really good for the time. But I've never went to go back to it. Never wanted to go back to it. I've never gone back to it. I'm gonna give this a C. That might be controversial. I don't know if it is or isn't, but it's a C. I get more fun out of people parodying it than ever wanting to watch it again. I just don't care. What do you think? What do you think, Jeff?
I give it honestly, I give it a solid A because while my memory of it isn't the strongest, the performance of the actors and the power that comes from Anthony Hopkins shakes me to my fucking bones. So, A.
Decent reasoning. What do you think? What do you think, Jade?
I'm honestly in the exact same boat as Jeff. I give it a solid A because, yeah, while I don't remember much about the film, like I haven't gone back to it in a while, but yeah, the performance is stellar and just everyone is so good in it, and just guy who plays Buffalo Bill is creepy as hell. Anthony Hopkins is just fantastic. Just, yeah, A.
Well, Molly's gone, and just for the sake of moving on, I'm pretty sure she would have given this an A. She's mentioned it before she's liked it, so we'll rank this an A. But like I said, my gripe, I loved let me rephrase it. I loved the movie, but I just never, you know what I mean? It's like to me, it's not even the epitome of a bad movie or a forgettable one. It's more like that was good. I don't ever want to watch it again. Not like in a bad way. I just don't ever want to watch it again.
That's fair.
That's fair. It's fair. It's definitely one of those things of like, if you're, I mean, it's a very specific style of like.
That is true.
Movie.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's the movie.
I'm cut in half now.
Yeah, I don't think it's really the kind of movie one casually watches either.
Yeah.
Oh, JD's been sawed in half. Yeah, you're sawed in half because you're
gone.
Yeah, you're in the middle now. I'll fix that if she doesn't come back soon. But for now, I'll just leave you sawed in half.
I see her online again.
Yeah. Sup, motherfuckers? What's up? What's up, Mr. Bad Guy? That's Warren. He's on a bunch of our streams too. Next one is Sixth Sense, and I'll be real. I don't know if anyone watched this movie when it first came out, but this was never a surprise to me because, like, I think even watching a commercial. Well, then I guess that was the point. But I mean, with people just not paying attention to context clues, the whole thing where he's like, "I see dead people," I thought that was clear that he had died because it was very I don't think it was subtle at all. I don't think that movie was ever subtle. That by the way, if anyone's never seen it, I just spoiled it for you. Bruce Willis is dead throughout the entire movie. I know. I don't think it was ever subtle. I don't think it was bad. I think it was a good twist. It was good. There was parts of the twist I didn't get. That was like, oh yeah, and it all made sense. And I love the movie, but I think the marketing ruined it, and it needed slightly better writing to not make it so obvious. So that said, I still give it a B, a solid B though. What do you think, Jade?
So I saw it in theaters, and what year did it come out, actually? It was 1999. Oh, yeah, 99. So I was 9 when I saw this in theaters, and
oh my God.
So obviously at that time I didn't, at that age, of course, I'm not gonna notice context clues. But I love the movie. I think it's, if there's still some person who has never ever seen it before, I still think it would hold up. Yeah, I give it a solid A. I like it a lot.
Okay.
I wouldn't consider it a horror movie though, to be perfectly honest.
I mean,
maybe a thriller, but yeah, I think it's a 9.
Okay. What do you think, Jeff?
I hate M. Night Shyamalan. Downright will not watch any of his movies. And if I did, if it was a mistake. I absolutely love Bruce Willis. And I did not watch this, and I will give it. I'm going to judge this movie solely on M. Night Shyamalan.
That's fair.
And M. Night and Bruce Willis. Haley Joel Osment also. He was really great too. the best I can give it is a C.
Okay. Wait, did I give it a B or a C? I already forgot. I think I gave it a B, I think. So we're at A, B, and C. What'd you say, Molly? Oh, you haven't said anything. What do you have to say about The Sixth Sense, Molly?
A.
A. So I think that we'll leave it at an A. I think I said it was a solid B. So we'll leave it at A. This was the only good M. Night movie, for the record, in my opinion. The Happening, Lady in the Water, The Village. I didn't like any of those, and let's not get into any others you did. But also Molly. So we leave this an A. But also, Molly, I wanted to mention that while you were gone, we finished Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, sorry, my computer randomly restarted.
No, it's fine. But
Silence of the Lambs, I would also give it an A.
Exactly. I assume.
We figured that would be
yeah, I assumed, and I factored that in. It's actually on an A. I think I gave it a C. Just because I mentioned how I thought it was, not bad, but I just never cared about it again after I saw it. So the last
back when AOL, wait, real quick, just back when AOL was like what everyone used, like that was our internet, and you'd get it on a disc, and you could make it so that when you signed on, it would say like hello to you in different ways. My dad literally had like Silence of the Lambs, would be like every time he logged on, it'd say, "Clarice, is that you? Oh my God, mail, goody goody."
Why would
so like that was my first introduction to the Silence of the Lambs.
That's weird. But moving on, the last one in the 80s and 90s is actually one from the 80s. It's Among Us the movie, aka The Thing.
Oh, serious?
I mean, it's a very similar plot to Among Us. Yeah, it's a very because like basically one of them's taken over. It's way similar because like it's even like a very. There's like, anyways, but yeah, The Thing, and I'm gonna give this a B, not because I think this one's mildly overrated. I saw it, I loved it, still love it. It's a great movie, but it's a solid B. I just don't think it's A material. Like I would watch it again if it's on, maybe on TV, so I don't have to like. But I might never choose to watch it on streaming. That's always the way I rank movies, Well, I watch it if it's playing. I mean, I don't watch TV, but if it was playing on something I can't stop, I might sit down and watch it here and there. Would I choose it on Netflix? No.
But how is The Shining an F? The Shining should at least be a D.
No. You froze when I said I was ignoring you. I forgot. I didn't realize you froze that early. But yeah, and both Amityville and The Shining are because of you.
My computer just.
And I forgot you froze when I said that. Yeah, you froze when I said that. So I'm like, oh, she didn't say anything. I'll just move. I guess it's an F. But yeah, anyways, The Thing.
Oh, yay!
What do you give it?
I'm sorry. I'm really excited about the 2000s movies.
Oh, what do you think? What do you think, Jade? I give it a B. By the way.
I haven't seen The Thing, so I'm going to abstain.
Okay, fair enough.
It is that's to watch though.
Among Us the movie. What do you think?
It even looks like
Among Us. I know, because it has like the.
I actually was watching a theory where he did make the comparison, and then I completely forgot about it. And then he reminded me.
But what do you say, Jeff?
I don't remember a lot about the movie, but I remember that both the original and the remake were great.
Yeah.
I'll give it an A.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think, Molly?
Oh, it froze and it looks like she was asleep.
But I'm trying to remember, did the Thing like go from person to person, or is it just one person the whole time?
It went from it was one person the whole time.
Okay. I don't know why I forgot that. I give it a B. B or an A.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. No, it was one person the whole time. It's not like Body Snatchers, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was an act because it's an alien.
Yeah, so exactly. I don't know why. I paused for a second. Yeah, I paused for a second. Like, wait, no. It was always the one thing, which is why I think there's even, not to spoil it, but there are parts where they like the wrong person dies. Let's just leave it at that. So the next one is 28 days. The next one is 28 Days Later, and this one's funny because people classify this as a zombie movie, but it really isn't. It's just like an infection movie. Like, it's just a virus, and I don't think they die. They just turn into like crazy.
So 28 Days Later also that whole 28 days and 28 weeks later is it's a rage virus. It's not even a zombie virus. But I think in 28 weeks later infected started eating flesh.
Oh, really? I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen Weeks.
I think.
Yeah,
but they still are technically zombies.
They're not zombies.
Well, it also, I guess it really just depends on your. It depends on your, because there's like zombies that are literally like they were dead and they came back to life, and then there's like, oh, this like infection turned you into like a thing, which could be considered a zombie. It's like it depends on your.
I think no one died and was resurrected.
Yeah.
I think everyone was alive. Yeah, everyone was alive and got infected, and it was a very quick turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing is,
seconds.
the first half of the movie is great. I love it. 28 Days Later. The second half of the movie is a ripoff of Day of the Dead, which is not on this list. We didn't talk about that, but that was the third sequel to. It was a mad ripoff of Day of the Dead. Mad ripoff.
Yeah.
And it bothered me that they did that. And it was good up to that point. So just based on that, I'm going to have to give this a low C. Because
I'll give.
Then that's my ranking. What do you say, Jeff? You about to say?
No, I agree fully. First half is fucking amazing. Second half, way too long, culminates with like a fucking battle on the lawn, and then you fight with the military.
Exactly,
people.
the military.
It's definitely a C because it tapers out, and it's like I don't want to be calm. I want to be like freaking out the entire time with this kind of movie. 28 Weeks definitely does a better job.
Yeah, I've heard 28 Weeks is better, but I have not seen that one, so I'll just rank it up.
I love 28
Yeah,
Weeks.
I'm trying to watch it tonight if it's on anything. I'll look at it later.
Yeah, because also it's a lot of like lies and deceit and Jeremy Renner and in a good movie.
So CC, what do you say? What do you say, Jade?
So this one's tough for me because, I'm gonna give it a high C, and that's mainly because it's like, first half phenomenal. I haven't seen Day of the Dead, so I can't speak of the ripoff portion, but I do remember that part being really slow.
Yeah.
But also, the reason why it's a higher C is because I'm biased. I love Danny Boyle, and a lot of the shots are amazing. That's that's part of why I love the movie so much. Not just the horror aspect, but just Danny Boyle is just really good at making really cool shots. Like the shots with the rainwater buckets that were being collected, and then just like shots of just a dilapidated town. It's just, I love Danny Boyle. That's just me being a Danny Boyle fangirl. But yeah, high C.
High C. What do you say, Molly? So we're all C's so far, by the way.
Yeah, C, yeah.
So we'll give this one a C. I don't know. Like, I gotta watch Weeks. It's a great movie. Also, this came out around the same time-ish as the Dawn of the Dead remake, and I remember getting them both kind of, not confused, because I knew the difference, but they both felt very similar. Also, this came out very similar time as the Walking Dead comic book, or like, the Walking Dead comic book definitely came out after. So there's all this talk about the Walking Dead ripping off of 28 Days Later, with its opening, where he slept through the beginning of, not slept, he was in a hospital, the beginning of the virus. I had to point that out there. So the next one is Final Destination, and I'll admit, this movie, I loved it. I fucking love it to death. It has like the Rube Goldberg, is that what you call it? Rube Goldberg type deaths, where like shit just keeps falling down, and like, I don't know how to explain it, but crazy wacky shit happens. And the sequels are really good too. I don't think there's a single Final Destination movie I don't like. And there's the infamous scene where that chick gets hit by the bus. It's amazing. It's amazing. This one, I hate to give such I don't want to say it's like, people don't remember this one, I think, as fondly as some of the other movies we put in this rank, but I'm still going to give this an S. I love it. And it's clever.
Interesting.
And it's a good franchise. Probably my most controversial pick at all, I think. This is an S to me. What do you think, Jade?
I definitely enjoy the sequels. Like, they definitely get really cheesy, but But in the sense where it's like, okay, maybe they're actually trying to be serious, but it's not registering. I'd have to give this one a B, honestly. Just because, I like them, but how many movies can you make of them doing the same thing?
I know, that is true, yeah.
Pattern. Although the cultural impact is still really cool because you'll be driving behind a truck that has like wood panels on it or something. They'll be, and the first, even people who haven't seen the movie say, "Oh, this is some Final Destination shit right here," and then they move their car.
And that's from part 2, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. People pull a lot of things more from the sequels than they do the first one.
Yeah, because the first one's the plane. Also, not to spoil it if nobody's seen all the movies, but the whole series is one big loop. If you ever watch the whole series, I just spoiled it right there. But if you watch the whole series, it's a big loop. Like it starts where it ends, and I don't think any series has ever really tried that. Like part 5 is like starts right at the beginning of part 1. Molly, are you frozen or are you just? Oh, you know you're not. Your eyes closed. What do you say?
I would give it
Oh no, it's a glitch.
B.
That was so A B. Anyways, what did you say? What did you say, Jade? I feel like
just talking really.
I feel like I didn't hear your grade, by the way, Jade. I forgot. What'd you get? Give it an A? A B?
I gave it a B.
Oh, B. So 2 B's and an S. 2 B's and an S.
I gave it a B.
Yeah. Well, I'm an S. But what did you say, Jeff?
C, if only because like it's a popcorn movie. It doesn't really mean anything to me, and it's it makes pop culture references.
I love how I'm the only one who's apparently like I'm stupidly in love with it.
The scariest thing about this movie is you could be in a Final Destination situation at any moment and like not even know.
Yeah, and I do like that about the series.
Like that's what's scary about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. At the same time, I'm watching it, and it makes you think, oh God, I could like die at any moment, or like something here, or like I might drink this and the glass will break and slit my throat.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same, on a personal level, it's just a popcorn movie going, dumb bitch.
So the next one's Hereditary, and this is one me and Jade were talking about before we started. I think Jade's still watching it, but
I have 20 minutes left, so I have no idea how it ends.
Oh, it has a wacky ending.
No spoilers.
I won't spoil it.
I'm gonna watch this one.
Yeah, I won't spoil it, but I will say that I was telling Jade I saw this movie in theaters, and I won't talk about the plot at all because honestly, just watch it. But I didn't like it. Then I watched it again, and I still didn't like it. And then I watched it again, like a bit more recently, and I walked away like, damn, that's a fucking good ass movie. And then I even watched it again more recently, like the other day, like with a friend, not like watching it just again. And there's stuff that you will not notice if you don't like watch it like a billion times. Basically, it's an amazing movie, and it is not. It goes places you do not imagine it to go in a lot of different ways. Also, the marketing to it was probably good and bad, because I went in thinking it was more of a ghost movie, and oh my god, it has nothing to do with. Look, I guess it kind of does, but it's just so not what you think it's gonna be. That's it. I'm giving it. I feel weird giving it an S, so I'm not going to, but I will give it a very, 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 very high A, and I'll leave it there. And I don't know. Does anyone else want to give it a score? Anyone else seen Hereditary? I don't know if anyone else.
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my queue. Yeah.
Can you give me like the non-spoiler, just like what exactly it is?
There is no way to not spoil it, because the main plot, it's not like, it does not tell you what the main plot is until like you're an hour into it. And then it's like, oh, that's what all this is about. And it's like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it has to do with genetics, I'm assuming, because it's called Hereditary.
See, that's the thing. I thought so too, but like it does have to do with like the family line, but nothing to do with genetics. Well, sort of. Anyways, you know what?
I also have not seen this movie, but I mean, Jade, can you vote for it based on what you've seen?
Yeah.
Based on what I've seen so far, I do like what has been going on with it. I have 20 minutes left in the movie, but just the way they handled certain things, because I went into it expecting not to like it that much. Because like I've been watching horror movies since I was a little kid, so there's some levels of horror I'm just like, okay, dazzle me. Like, I hate being a snob sometimes, because there are definitely moments where I like things that snobs totally wail on. But yeah, just from what I've seen so far, they've done a lot of different things with this type of movie, so I would definitely give it an A.
Okay.
And plus, Toni Collette's freaking awesome. I love her.
Yeah, there's this scene, and it's funny because like The director, he's also the guy who directed Midsommar. There's a scene in Midsommar where like everyone's crying and everyone like mimics that. Everyone kind of like references that scene when talking about the movie, where the main character starts crying and everyone cries around her. It's like this hysteric crying, and I hated that scene. But in Hereditary, and it's not really comparable because she's crying for a totally different reason, but in Hereditary there's a very similar hysterical crying scene, and there that fucking scene worked. Like I don't want to go into that scene that much. That scene is crazy, but I don't know, it's a great movie. Everyone should go watch it. Everyone should go watch it like right now. As soon as we're done, just everyone go watch. Everyone just watch it at once. Next movie is Hostel, and I'm not gonna lie. Okay, this is the movie that really created torture porn, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think this movie's as bad as everyone makes it. I don't know why everyone hates it. I don't think it's great, but I think it's definitely better than the sequels and better than some others. I'm gonna give this a very, 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 very solid B. And I don't think it deserves higher, but I also think everyone else is give it lower. So it's a very solid B. What do you think, Jade?
Like, I like the first Hostel okay, and I think the makeup's cool, and the concept is kind of interesting. But I will say, are you okay, Molly?
Okay.
Molly. For
it just my internet started like crapping out a second. That's why I said, "Oh no, sorry." You're fine.
Okay. But yeah, I'm also. Granted, I don't dislike the torture porn as much as I dislike the found footage, but yeah, torture porn, it's like once you've seen one, it's like, okay, yeah, they're all pretty much the same. So I would give Hostel as a series a solid C. Like, it's an interesting movie, but I'm not, like, I don't dislike it, but I don't, like, super love it either.
Fair. What do you say, Geoff?
Torture porn's not my thing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This is a very hit or miss one. If even that.
Yeah, I never really watched it because I saw it. I'm like, killing a bunch of tourists. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this, so I abstain.
Okay, Molly, what do you say? Hostel.
I give this movie an F because it's the reason my mom wouldn't let me stay at was super. She's already, because of the movie Taken, my parents were terrified of me going anywhere. And then the movie Hostel came out, and they were like, "You are not allowed to stay in a hostel ever." Which means I have
You're never leaving the house again.
Oh no.
No, it's actually funny you mentioned that.
I was the type of person who, I love her to death, but if someone else got murdered, she would assume that meant that my chance of getting murdered would go up.
No,
I was like, Mom, that's not how it works.
It's actually funny you mentioned that because I don't know if like the movie, like I'm sure that's kind of part of Eli Roth's thought process, but those kind of rumors about hostels have always existed. When I was in high school and like talking about actually this movie came out when I was in high school, but like before this movie came out, as I'm getting at, it was like people were always like, "Oh, be careful if you travel abroad and stay at a hostel. They'll probably kidnap you and sell you." That was a thing. That was a thing that people were really. Hostel didn't make that. I don't know if that's controversial to say, but people were saying that to me.
Pretty sure my dad stayed at hostels.
I'm not saying it happens. I'm not saying it happens a lot or happens at all. I don't know.
I know,
but my point is, it was a thing that people were saying long before Hostel. Just FYI, because Hostel is pretty old now, so people might not know that.
I don't know how true it is.
I actually will say I've never seen that movie.
Like, I forget what it was. I think Eli Roth, like, it was like some interview, like, I don't remember how true it is, but Eli Roth basically said that he got the idea because he heard of some kind of company, like something on the deep web going like, "Oh yeah, you can pay to shoot this guy in the head or something," and I guess that was the idea for it or something.
And actually, all the sequels include that plot point. The first one kind of like it kind of implies there's a huge society, obviously, but yeah, the later sequels include that plot point big time. Like people like watching, like, I'll vote that I want her to die, or I'll vote for her, or pay for her, or whatever. Anyways, moving on. The next one's Insidious. Is Insidious, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this series. I don't think it's the worst, but I'm still gonna give it a D. And that's probably the lowest anyone will give it, so I'm still gonna give it a D though. And like I was saying earlier, this is the movie that like it has the people from Saw and the people from Paranormal Activity together, so it's like A-listy people, but I still don't like it. I also don't like Paranormal Activity, so fuck that half of the A-list part. But anyway, Jeff, what do you think? I've also never seen sequels, by the way, so I'm just leaving it there. First one only.
I think I've seen it once.
The third one's horrible. Don't watch it.
Noted. I think I've seen it once. I think I've seen it with other people. It wasn't that. I don't really remember it. I know it has the guy that's the fuck is his name, Night Owl in it, and I like him as an actor.
Oh, I forget his name, but I know what you're talking about.
Isn't he in the Conjuring 2? Something like that?
Yeah. Isn't he? He's in one of them, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
And speaking of The Conjuring, I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was Conjuring universe when I was making the list. And like, I mean, for decades, obviously, for a decade, for a decade, I thought it was I thought it was Conjuring universe, but it isn't. FYI.
It feels like that's the thing. Like, bring it up.
Universe nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, even the trailer going through it feels like something in the Conjuring universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
They're very similar.
I also don't like The Conjuring, just to give that away. But anyways, would you rank it, Jeff? I hate The Conjuring. Anyways, what do you say, Jeff?
I give it a C.
What did I get? I'll give it a D. I'm like,
I like haunting movies. This one just seems like it's probably just not the strongest.
This actually came out before The Conjuring. I'm just looking that up right now. I can't believe there's that many Conjuring universe movies, and it's so new. Anyway, Jade, what do you think? Huh?
I have to give it a D. Like,
oh, thank you.
there were only two things that actually scared me in that movie, and it was not that Darth Maul looking motherfucker. It was like, it was just like the only parts that really scared me were
I keep forgetting.
like the old lady. The old lady. I've only seen the first one, but like the brief appearance of the old lady at the end, that was pretty creepy. And then when they took a picture of like the ghost of these two girls, and then they suddenly smiled all creepily, like that got me. But everything else, I was just like kind of bored, and I'm like, all right, when's the next jump scare? Here we go.
Yeah,
like,
that's all you kind of.
Yeah, so D.
Wait for.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give this one a B. I really liked the actual projection part of it. This movie came out like right when I was really starting to get into horror movies. I mean, a little bit after that, but like, so I remember like I just have fond memories of like us all being afraid of it in high school, and I do agree though that like he doesn't look like Darth Maul. But okay, the third one is an okay movie. It's just the last scene of it. It's like a prequel, and it shows how the medium lady like met her assistants, and there's like the worst written scene I've ever seen in my life at the very end, where she just goes like, "I like you two should be my assistants," and that's like basically how it's like. It's just a horribly written final scene in that movie. Actually, I'm gonna give it a C. Honestly,
C.
The B would be for the first movie, but the other movie just make it a C.
Well, that was 2 D's and a C, and we already have 2 straddling, so I'm gonna give this a D. Ignoring Molly, I'm kidding, but no, only because no, it's kind of legit. It should be in the middle.
This isn't the one that I really like have.
Sorry, I got distracted because I accidentally.
I also would just like to say,
huh?
Another movie that has the
Anyway.
Oh shit.
So like yeah, it's so funny. Like I guess they were. I didn't even notice they were cursing. They're like, "There's no cursing." I'm like, no, I banned you on accident. So I just want to say that out loud. My bad. I was literally trying to get the keyboard off the screen so I could read the chat.
I'm like, we're cursing. Why are you banning someone
Exactly.
else for cursing?
Yeah, I didn't mean to. Yeah, I just wanted to apologize there. That was literally my phone freaking out. I was pressing on it to get to the chat part, and I banned someone. Anyway. Apologies. I unbanned them right away once I realized what I did. But anyways, next one's It. Now I'll be straight up with you. I liked it the first time I watched it. It got worse at each viewing. There are parts of it that are just outright funny, but then again, there are parts of the TV version, the Tim Curry one, that I found that were just outright funny. I hated the part 2. And I also hate that.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I also hated that the book. I mean, the book. I also hate that. I'm not a huge fan of the book either, mind you. But I also hate that both film versions, separate the kid part to the adult part. In the book, they're intertwined, and I feel the story works better that way. I don't know why both versions decide that we tell the kid story first and the adult story later. Like, no, they're both supposed to end at the same time. Anyway, and I was hoping that this one wouldn't do it. So I'm just gonna give this one a C. It's smack in the middle. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. The part where Pennywise is doing that jig at the end, kind of towards the end, yeah. Everyone laughed their ass off. That made me not scared of anything he ever did again, like forever. So and it redacted everything. So there you go. Like, that ruined the movie for me. I don't know why they put that in there. That's it. It's a C, and I probably want to give it lower, but I'm gonna leave it at a C. What do you say, Jeff?
I love these movies. I fucking adore them. So yeah, Tim Curry's Pennywise absolutely had like a great personality for it, and in this one, Pennywise was just straight up like a fucked up villain, and I kind of like that, because while I do like villains having a personality, if you just check off just like it's fucked up, then that's great for me. The kids were great actors in the movie. Obviously, like, modern day, it's all money based. So that's why they split into 2. I really appreciated that they actually went out of their way with the second movie to like find basically like grown-up versions of the kids, because the people looked amazing. They absolutely looked like grown-up versions of the kids. And then the intertwining the timelines for the second one. I can't remember the guy. Peter. No, I can't remember his name. Something. It's like Skarsgård or something. Who played Pennywise, was fucking phenomenal, and I think one of the favorite things behind the scenes was people were like, was he just in character the whole time? Like, no, he broke character whenever they cut, so you just had Pennywise making jokes with all his friends on set, and it scared the shit out of people. No, I love it. I love that. I have the movies on my tablet still. I give it an S.
Oh my god, that's such a huge disparity. What do you?
I love these stupid movies. The Chinese food scene in the second one made me laugh.
Oh my
so
god. Hard. What do you say, Jade?
So I'm going to give it an A. The only reason I'm not giving it an S is because I hated the second one of the new ones. Because the thing is, it's like this one, it suffered the same problem as the miniseries did, where the adult storyline was really boring for me.
And
like,
that's why you shouldn't split it up, by the way. That's why you shouldn't split it up.
The first, I remember the first half in the miniseries, the kid storyline was great, and Tim Curry, you can't argue with how great Tim Curry is. And then with the new one, Chapter 1, absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorites. And then I was so disappointed when I went in for Chapter 2, and it sucked too because I really liked the cast, and it just felt like I was watching good actors in a bad movie.
Yeah.
That's kind of my point, though, of liking it. Like, I don't go into this going, oh man, this is gonna be quality shit. This is like, oh man, no.
And also like the
Bill
whole
Skarsgård, that's his name.
The Horcrux hunt got really repetitive.
Oh
really
yeah,
fast.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's when I was just like, okay, they're gonna go to the thing, have a flashback of a scare, then have an adult scare, and then it's gonna happen again for the next hour. Like, that's where I was just like, okay, let's just finish this. But yeah, I give it an A, and that's only because I didn't like the second one.
Fair. What do you give it, Molly?
Let's see.
Oh, okay.
It depends. Because we're going on the movie, the newest movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
three. Go ahead.
Sorry. The only reason I like I'm adverse to it is because I love Tim Curry so much. So anytime they remake something and he's no longer in it, I'm just like I don't like it as much.
Oh my god. I mean, that's a fair thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I
Fair.
just didn't like these adaptations. And the first one, I'm not gonna lie. The first one was kind of the opposite of Hereditary, where like I grew to dislike it. I also didn't like to change the setting. They took it from the 50s to the 80s. I kind of know why they did that, but I still don't like that they did it. But anyways, and also the first one just felt like Stranger Things half the time because it had the kid from Stranger Things, and it wasn't. They moved it to the 80s. It just felt like they were just making Stranger Things the movie for a minute there. But that's not, I don't want to ride on the it thing too long. Let's move on to Paranormal Activity now. First of all, I hate.
Wait, so what did it?
Oh yeah. Oh shit. It's between B and A. Sorry, I actually didn't even finish what I was doing. I was trying to put it between B and A, and it's only between B and A. Actually, I'll leave it in A. That's fair. Even though technically it should be a little lower, but I just don't want to put it between.
Wait, who rated it lowest?
Me and Molly both gave it C's.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if there was a D, then it definitely belongs.
Well, this
in the
time
D,
I'm
but-
definitely ignoring Molly again. I'm just kidding. I'm ignoring me too. I'm just being a jerk to Molly.
Paranormal Activity. What are you talking about?
Oh no, Paranormal Activity. We were finishing up it. I didn't tell them what I gave it. Sorry, what I averaged it to. Paranormal Activity. First of all, I hate that they try to make this into a series because when I found out they were making part 2, I saw the Japanese one first, and the Japanese one has nothing to do with the first one. And then I thought they were all going to be like that. But no, there's a continuing plot line. And that fucking blows my mind that a found footage movie would have a continuous plot line. And every found footage movie has those moments where it's like, who would realistically film this? But this movie takes the fucking cake. There are times having a personal conversation and it's filmed and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. If I'm trying to have a heart-to-heart talk with you and you're holding a camera in my face, I'd be like, put the fucking camera down, you know? And who would do this? Who acts like this? And the movie, nothing happens. And part 2 has a fucking baby that cries the whole time. And I made a tweet about this. I don't know if you saw it, Molly, who follows me on Twitter, or anyone else, but I made a tweet about that. I started watching it, and the baby started crying, and I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna watch a movie where the baby cries the whole time. And that's pretty much what that movie was. I did eventually finish it, and I was like, please, can someone shut the baby up? Sorry for anyone who like has a fondness for crying babies. I don't know. I give it an F, hardcore F. Nothing
By the way,
happens.
Snacks. We all rated Nightmare on Elm Street really high. It wasn't just Manuel.
Oh my god. So yeah, I give it an F. I'm pretty sure everyone will give it a little higher. I don't think anyone's gonna give it an S. So let's move on. I mean, not move on, but let's move on to everyone else's rankings. Molly, you go first because I'm curious. I'm pretty sure you're gonna give it an A or something.
If this movie was just the nighttime parts, I would give it a higher rating. But literally, like, nothing happens during the daytime parts, so it gets a C.
A Z?
It's like it goes from like a D.
Oh,
like,
I
you
think
go
it's
from
Z.
being like there's some parts that are really creepy in that movie, and then all of a sudden it's just like like the adrenaline's just like completely gone because we're like in the daytime and nothing's happening. Like it doesn't keep you. I don't know. I don't like that going up and down.
There's the part where the Ouija board lights on fire, and that to this day, that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a movie. That was meant to be scary. I don't know if someone found that scary, but I thought it was hilarious. Jade, what do you think?
I give it an F for fucking boring.
Yes, thank you.
I fell asleep. I've only seen the first 2, and I fell asleep through both of them.
Oh, so you experienced the baby crying though? Was that too much for you too?
Like I was just like, okay, is something gonna happen with the baby? And then something happens, but not really. Like
There's this part where they lifted the baby out of the crib, and I laughed my ass off during that. I saw the first 2 both. I saw the first one in theaters. I saw the second one a couple times, and I tried to watch it again recently. But anyways, what do you think, Jeff? Oh, that's 2 F's and a D, by the way. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm gonna coattail off of Molly and say, like, if it was the nighttime stuff, it would be really great. I saw, how many of them? 4?
I've seen them all, for the record. They're not great. They don't get better.
No, I've seen them all. I saw them all because it was like, okay, I was with my ex at the time, and we were like, this is garbage, but I think we should power through because this is, you know,
Let's see where they're going with this. Yeah,
we need something. We need something to do because we're already becoming shut-ins. Yeah, it ended really shittily in like the fourth movie or whatever. If it was just the horror, great. I give it a D. So.
Okay, well,
I mean, I like the random parts of the ghost movie. Just like, oh god, you know. But again, nighttime parts, those were fun. That's it.
Well, we'll just go with the F again because I just loved giving some things an F. All these ghost ones Fs.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, technically it
should
should
on a bad curve.
Yeah, and technically there's no. It's hard. This is a stupid reason, I'll admit, but there's not enough space once I start moving shit around to put it between the D and the F anyway. There's no space for it.
No, that's fine.
I'd have to move everything around to straddle it because there's some that straddle, but not that one. Just won't be able to. The next one is Saw. Now, if we're ranking the whole series, I'd probably give it like a C, because it does become torture porn. I don't believe the first one was torture porn. I don't buy that. The first one was a good movie. I love the first Saw movie. If it was just the first Saw movie, I'd give it an A. If we're talking the whole series, I'd probably give it a C. If I'm being nice, I'm going to give it a B, and that's exactly what I'm giving it, a B. What do you say,
I'll go
Jeff?
for that.
A B?
I'll go for that. Because it's like, yeah, because it's very much like a, you know, a psychological thriller horror. And then just gets worse as time goes on, becoming torture porn. So I'll follow you.
So what do you say, Jade?
Same thing as you guys said. I give it a B. It's like, yeah, the first one is cool, interesting concept, and you know, Carrie always is awesome. But after a while, it's just like torture porn. I'm
exactly.
Like, okay, no substance.
Unlike M. Night Shyamalan movies, when I was watching the first run of them, like every year, I was kind of excited. What's going to be the twist? You know, like no one ever talks about that part, but I was actually kind of like, ooh, what's going to happen into this one? And there were a couple bad ones, I will admit, but there were a couple that like, ooh, damn, really? Anyway, what do you say, Molly?
Hey guys, give me 2 seconds. I've got to hop into the other room really quick. If the next movie is Babadook, I didn't see it.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So you can skip out on that one. So yeah, move on. Molly.
I give this movie a C. I would give it lower. It's just not my thing.
Okay.
But also because Jigsaw became kind of like a cultural icon in a little bit, it goes a little bit higher. But yeah, I just like. As I've said, like the gore, like it just doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't like make me nauseous or anything like that. I just like don't care.
Well, we'll leave that one at a B then, because it was 3 B's and a C. I love that movie. I love the original Saw. I kind of want to watch it again, see if it still stands up on its own. I've seen it several times though, so it's not like I'm leaving that one out. I also like the last Saw movie. I think it was called Saw 3D, and that one also has Carrie always. Yeah. Well, actually, that wasn't the last Saw movie. They made a Jigsaw, but anyway. The Babadook. I
will say the premise of Saw is good though. Oh yes, the Babadook.
Now, similar to Jeff, I'll admit right off the bat, I have not seen the whole movie. I have seen some of it, so I'm kind of about ranking it, so I might just skip this one. We'll see what everyone else. We'll see what you two say, and we'll see if I jump in or not. What do you say, Jade?
So this one's a little hard for me because it did give me chills at times, like where it was like really, really creepy, and like the actual monster is creepy. But I'm rooting for him the entire time because I cannot stand the main characters at all. Like, everyone's a piece of shit.
That kid!
Like, everyone's a piece of shit in this movie.
The mom is okay, but that kid is annoying.
Yeah, and
I don't mind the mom.
And the aunt, I'm like, why didn't he kill the aunt? Like the aunt and the kid, I'm just like, you are all terrible people. I'll give it an A.
Okay.
I'll give it an A because even though I wasn't super jazzed about it, it did give me the creeps, and like the monster factor was what got me. And I think that it's really hard to do that when they show the monster right off the bat, because usually that ruins it.
What
but yeah,
is the Babadook? What is this movie? Like, I literally, the most I know about it is they made a reference on it.
It's an allegory.
Yeah.
It's
what?
actually
it's an allegory for depression.
Yeah, it's the game.
Interesting.
Or no, it's the game. Like, because the whole thing with the Babadook is like, oh, if you, like, the more you try to not believe in the Babadook, the more he goes after you. So it's like with the game, it's like, oh, the more you think about it, you're gonna lose.
I hate the game. But
the Babadook showed up in What We Do in the
I've
Shadows.
seen it multiple times. So
Okay.
the Babadook. Yes, the Babadook did show up, and I love that. I love What We Do in the Shadows. So the Babadook is a really good movie. Most horror, like more recent horror movies, are not good. This one is actually good, even though the kid makes you want to like strangle him because he's so annoying. But
I mean, most.
I love the memes though.
It's an allegory for mental health. So already the Babadook is like an allegory for. Well, I don't know if it officially is, but a lot of people believe that it's an allegory for mental health, where like the Babadook is like kind of a manifestation of her depression. Mm-hmm. And also, the Babadook is a gay icon, guys, because it was accidentally listed as an LGBTQ movie, and people just ran with it. So the Babadook is like it's a really good movie, and everyone should watch it.
Okay.
What do you rank it?
Fair, you will hate the main child.
Wait, did you give it an A? Oh, we gave it an S. I missed the ranking entirely. Okay, I'll be honest. I'll give this one an S only because I have heard it's good. I have only seen the first part of it, and because I ignored Molly like 3 times already in the ranking. So there's no space to put it between S and an A anyway because it's just 2 people who voted. So we'll leave it there at an S. The next was The Conjuring. Now, I'm not going to lie, the first Conjuring... I've seen scattered Conjuring universe movies. I've seen La Llorona, which is one of them. I've seen the first Annabelle. I've seen, like, the most recent Annabelle. I think there's 3 or 4 Annabelles. I've seen, like, 2 Annabelle movies. I'm not sure which ones. I haven't seen The Nun. I heard that one's shit, though. And I've seen The Conjuring.
I haven't seen it either.
But... And I will admit, out of all that weird scattering of Conjuring universe movies I've seen, the Conjuring is the best. But it's the best in a bad pile. And I'm going to give it a D. I want to give it an F, but I don't think it's as bad as Paranormal Activity. So I feel bad going that low. So I'm going to give it a D. And also, I think that they're all like based on true stories. I think almost like I hate that concept. I hate these people, but that's a story for another day. But I'm gonna give it a D. I probably would give it an F as the whole series, but anyways, let's leave it at a D. What do you say? What do you say, Jeff?
Okay, so I'm not gonna judge this as a whole for the series or the universe as it is.
Yeah.
As just the movie, I fucking loved this movie when it came out. I watched it in theaters. I watched it in theaters, and I don't use the term very often, if at all, but I got fucking hyped off it. I got hyped.
Posture check.
Oh, always posture check.
Anyways, you got hype. Go on.
I do not like using that, but when I first saw this movie, I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is about. I'll come into it going through. As just a standalone, I'm like, this movie is fucking amazing. So I will 100% give it an S because it just made me feel happy.
Whoa, that is a huge disparity. What do you say, Molly? 'Cause I'm pretty sure you're gonna go similar. Yeah, 2 S's. Okay, that's a huge disparity. I love it. What do you?
Wait, I'm not done.
Okay, go on.
Literally, the only thing I did not like about this movie is that at the very end, when she's like flying around the room, the effect they use, like the body is just so like stiff. So it's just like, so literally when we were in the movie theater watching it, one of my friends goes, "Parkour." But other than that, this movie was like genuinely like, for a modern day movie, like a modern day horror movie, this movie was like way blew my expectations out of the water. I will say I haven't seen a lot of the other Conjuring franchise movies like Annabelle and stuff like that. Although Annabelle is also in The Conjuring.
Yeah, I don't like Annabelle, but this is the story. But
Annabelle was god awful.
But this, as well as Sinister, which Manuel did not put in the thing, even though JD just said it was scientifically proven to be the scariest movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sinister.
I've never seen it. I don't remember anyone even talking about.
I also give The Conjuring an S.
S. Oh my god. Okay, so two S's and a D.
They find a projector in the...
Oh, that's the... See, you told me the movie, but you didn't tell me what it was called. You were mentioning it in the chat, and I still never seen it.
I said the projector one, the one where they find a projector in the...
But you didn't say what it was called. You kept saying the projector one. Anyway, or maybe you did say Sinister, and I didn't realize that was the title. I just thought you were saying it's Sinister. And that's not a joke. I really probably think you said it. I just thought that. Anyways, Jade, what do you think? Are you gonna give it an S? I just didn't know that.
I'm gonna have to give it a D, honestly.
Thank you. Okay, I was scared.
I fell asleep during The Conjuring because I got really bored, and Annabelle was god awful. I haven't seen the other ones in that universe, but yeah, I'm not really a fan. So yeah, I'll give it a D.
So
honestly.
in the upset of the century, but this
also,
is...
if I remember correctly. Wait, just real quick, if I remember correctly, in The Conjuring, the dog does die, but the dog dies so soon that you don't grow attached to the dog, and therefore the dog dying does not upset you as much as the dog dying normally would.
The dog does not upset you because you don't grow attached. Quote Molly. Anyways, I'm just kidding. But
totally agree.
That is a... That probably ranks at a B though, FYI. So in the upset of the century, a literal split, 2 D's and we didn't get F's, but 2 D's and two S's. It's insane.
Yeah.
How could 4 people watch the same movie so differently? Now the next one is The Grudge. Now I specifically didn't want to go too foreign in this list, which is why we're only talking about the remakes, the American ones. We talk about there is a remake. There is a remake of the American one, weirdly enough, and so there's about like 4 Grudge movies in America. There's also like 4 or 6, I forget how many.
There is
in Japan. They came up with the remake of The Grudge like this year. It's like I just saw it on Amazon Prime, or like one of my channels. I think it's on Prime. I think it's like on Showtime. But I just saw it on there. I was like, oh look, there's a 2020 one. I thought that wasn't coming out till like next year, but no, it's out, I guess. But 2020 that goes to show you this year.
It's not just a sequel. It's actually a remake.
Yeah, it's a remake. Or it's something. It's something from 2020. I started watching it. I'm like, oh, this isn't Sarah Michelle Gellar, you know.
Yeah, it was like Grudge 0 or something. Or no, it was like or did they use the Japanese name?
I don't know.
Remember,
but
I know what you're talking about.
But anyways, we're mainly talking about the Sarah Michelle Gellar one here. To be fair, I love the Japanese one. I don't want to compare it too much. It did a weird thing where it took something from all the movies and kind of mixed them together, but then it really uncomplicated the plot. Like the Japanese one had no main character really. And the Sarah Michelle Gellar character was only in like a third of the movie, and she dies. Plot twist. And spoiler, I meant. Spoiler alert, she dies before the movie, long before the movie ends. But the American one's okay, and I liked it way better than like The Ring. That said, I'm gonna give it a B. I think that's fair. It's a B. The movie could have been better though, and that's also gonna tell you what I'm gonna rank The Ring in a second. But Jade, what do you think?
There are a few factors going into this, but I'm honestly going to rate it an S because the American one is actually pretty close to the original Ju-on, which scared the shit out of me. And that lady is one of the few horror creatures that scares the living crap out of me still. And yeah, like auditory things really get me.
Oh yeah.
So that croaking thing, I'm just like, no. Like I literally, like, even if I think about it, I have to run to wherever there's not a light turned on and turn it on, even though you can't escape from her, from the darkness from her. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give it an S purely based on like the biggest scare factor for me.
Like I said, it's great. I kind of feel bad giving it a B now that I really think about it, because there are parts it did better. I'll say it a B though. But yeah, it's a good movie. I'm not trying to say it's bad. It did get rid of like a whole, like I said, like a third of the movie, because the movie goes on where they try to burn down the house, and it goes on with that guy's daughter like in the future, and that's all gone from the American one. But anyway, spoiler alert again. But anyways, Jeff, what do you think about The Grudge?
So, I could not remember if I watched this movie. I still cannot remember it, because I brought up the trailer right now. All I can say is, she sounds like a fucking clicker.
I can't even do that, but...
yeah.
So, yeah.
Clicker.
The death rattle, I think is what they officially call it.
From The Last of Us.
Yeah.
She sounds like a clicker.
And I'm pretty sure that was an influence on the clickers. But so do you abstaining or are you gonna vote anyway?
I'm gonna have to abstain because I loved The Ring. I honestly don't recall The Grudge, and I don't want to judge it.
Oh, you're gonna hate me in about a minute. But what do you say, Molly? What's your ranking? We had a C and an S.
Give this an S.
Oh my god!
I know it was The Grudge too, but that movie scared me more than any movie has ever scared me before.
Oh yeah, you did mention that earlier.
It was.
Well,
and also like just in general, I don't know why, but Asian countries or all of the. I don't want to generalize all Asian countries, but all of the horror movies that I have seen that have either been based on an Asian or originally Asian horror film and or were just like made in Asia, they're so much scarier than the ones we come up with here.
Like, yeah. Holy shit.
Audition, whoa.
I will say this.
Ridiculously, although I will say, I do think the American. Well, we can get into that later, but I think it's an S.
Well, I kind of got to leave since we're going to wrap this up soon. We only got 2 more anyway. But I'll leave with this little thing. They're really good if you like ghost stories. Because that's pretty much all that you really find in most Japanese horror. Yeah. And I'll admit, as you might have noticed, I'm not. Yeah, if you might have noticed, I'm not a huge fan of ghost stories. I like pretty much every other genre of horror, just about. But I'm not a huge fan of ghost stories. So I will admit that even though I do like Asian horror, Japanese horror specifically, but I'm not a huge fan of them in general because of the whole ghost story aspect. So the next one is The Ring. Now, y'all gonna hate me, but I'm gonna give this a D. First of all, the Japanese one's a million times better. I know we shouldn't really compare them, but it's a million times better. I even like the rip-off movie, because like this one was like in development hell for a while. Apparently, they were trying to remake the Japanese Ring for like years, because that came out like in '97, and it's based on a book, by the way, which came out even before that. And then this didn't come out until like 2001, 2002, something like that. And in between,
2002.
Yeah, in between there was a movie called Fear.com, which was apparently apparently was meant to be a Ring ripoff, and it came before this one, but it was basically a movie where you went to a website and you died in 3 days. Had the same little girl aspect. It was like a ripoff of The Ring totally. I like that more than I like the American Ring. Also, I just didn't like the changes. I didn't like the fact that they added in horses. I didn't like the video was a little too like over the top. I don't know. I just didn't like this one as much. And because...
You didn't like that they did what with horses?
That they added in all that shit with horses. That wasn't the Japanese... That wasn't in any version. All that shit with horses. And because this one was stuck in development hell and came out so late, it was already outdated. Because, like, the whole story about finding a VHS tape didn't make sense in 2002. Like, we kind of pretend it did, but it really didn't. Like, video stores by around me, and I didn't live in a very nice area, were already converting to DVD long before that. And nobody really, people were already getting rid of the VCRs in the late 90s that I knew. And I didn't grow up in an affluent neighborhood. So this movie was already behind the times when it came out. And people don't remember that part of it, but it was made way too late. So I'm going to give this a D. Jeff, what do you say?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I didn't really look into too much of it, of anything else. Because this was the 2002 one that we were talking about, right? Like, because I started getting so confused because I would Google each of these movies and I'm like, why is the list so long?
Oh. We probably should have made this 30 movies, but anyways, keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the shit out of it, so, but at the same time, I don't remember it as well. I don't know, I'll give it a B. I enjoyed it, but...
Fair.
It's, I mean, like you said, like Molly said, the Japanese always just make it better, and if it's the American one, it's probably just a downgrade.
Yeah. But honestly, like, I actually... don't think they're... I mean, I think they all kind of...
I found the American Ring scarier than the Japanese Ring.
I didn't think either was too scary, to be fair. But I thought that the American one just added way too much. It was like 2 hours long, too. I'm like, why is this so long? The Grudge... I mean, there's others that I felt weren't bad remakes. I thought Dark Water was a better American version of the Japanese one. There are better remakes out there, but... I don't know. I just didn't like this one. Speaking of which, what do you say, Molly, for this one? We're in a B and a D.
something similar to Dark Water actually happened in Los Angeles too. Anyways,
oh, you're right.
I think it's the one I'm thinking of. I would give The Ring also an S.
Oh my God, these are all over the place. We got an S, a B, and a D. I know. I didn't realize that.
First of all, it's similar to my name. Second of all, I really liked this story. The face of the people that have died is one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life.
Fair.
Like, it just still freaks me out.
I said fair. How do we have 16 views? How do we have 16 views? No, I said fair. But how do we have 16 viewers, by the way, right now? Like, a lot of them left after the raid, but now we have 16. I'm like, what people are watching us? Anyways, keep going.
It's spoopy season.
I know, apparently. We're almost done. I feel bad. Anyways.
But yeah, so I would give The Ring an S rating just because, I don't know, it's like one of those like classics, but like a classic that happened more in my time. So
okay.
I really like it.
I mean, I will admit that is true, but I find it weird that a classic for people here would be a remake of a pretty old movie by this point, which is kind of sad. What do you say, Jade? They're all over the place.
I do enjoy. I'm gonna make it even more all over the place. I do enjoy the American remake of The Ring. Obviously, the original Ringu is scarier. One of the things that got me a lot in the original was, like, oddly enough, the dude with the face covering over his head and he was like pointing.
Oh yeah.
But there were a lot of things that the American one I think did well as its own story, honestly. So, and creepy children is one of the things that gets me too. So I honestly would give it an A.
Okay, let me figure this out a bit. There's an S, an A, a B, and a D. So I think I know, like, I think that's a really high B. Is there space for a B and an A? Yeah, there's space.
I think it's a B.
It technically, yeah, you know what? It'll just be a B. There's not really space after all. I don't feel like doing what I was gonna do. We'll leave it at a B. And I do think Grudge is better, so I don't want to put it like anywhere near the Grudge.
Grudge is definitely scarier.
Yeah, both versions. Also, we didn't mention this, but the American Grudge was directed by the same person, so as the Japanese one. It was Takashi Shimizu. So,
same actress too.
Yeah, I feel bad if I was like the American one was shit because it's the same person who directed it. Also, fun fact: Ring 2, not Ring 1 though. The American Ring 2. The American Ring 2 was directed by the same Japanese Ring director, so Hideo Nakata. So
the directing was fine. It was just the writing of that one was a little...
Unfortunately, Ring 2, I think he had a horrible script, but that's a story for another day. But Trick or Treat is the last one, which is a great movie to end it on because it's the most Halloween out of all the Halloween movies besides Halloween. And yes, I just said Halloween like 8 times in that sentence. Trick or Treat is an anthology horror movie. I love it. You don't see those that often, especially in the post 2000s. I don't think it's S tier quality, but I definitely think it's a hard A. And that's pretty much all I can say about it. It's a hard A. What do you say, Jade?
So I watched Trick or Treat for the first time earlier today, and I have to say I want to give it an S because you can tell horror fans made this for horror fans. So you could tell there's a lot of love behind it, and just I feel like even though Halloween, it's in the name Halloween, Trick or Treat feels more Halloween than Halloween does. Like you're so immersed in this atmosphere, and before I really caught on that it was an anthology film, like, and I was just seeing everything kind of jump around, I was so immersed in this world that they built that I didn't even care. Like I was just like, this is so cool. I want to see what happens with all of these. Like, it's definitely one where it's like it's easy to fly under the radar until you finally sit down and watch it, and I absolutely loved it. I'd give it an S for sure.
Oh wow, I mean that's fair. Like I said, like my A is a really solid A. So yeah, I agree that's a really good movie, and it definitely was made by people who loved horror movies for horror fans. What do you say, Geoff?
I have never heard of this movie.
Oh my god.
I know, right?
It's amazing. This is a modern classic.
I googled it right now and I watched the trailer. and I got confused out of my goddamn mind.
Well, because it's an anthology, but it's not like your typical anthology. It's not like Creepshow or like Twilight Zone, where it's like literally separate stories. This one like weaves together a bit of them. So like Jane was saying, you could watch it and you could probably be like 3 quote unquote stories in and not realize you're watching an anthology, because it's like they're kind of just moving around.
I agree, because it like watching it, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because like, you know, the trailer goes through like, you know, it has the dude from Battlestar in it.
Oh yeah, there's a really big cast too, by the way.
That always plays a dad. And then there's like a monster, and then I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, it is. So as someone who doesn't know anything about it, but just kind of came into it now, I want to watch this fucking movie.
I think you'll like it, honestly.
Yeah, it's really great.
So I won't give it a score, but I will say it. I mean, it takes a lot for a horror movie to pique my interest. This one definitely piqued my interest.
Like I said, this is definitely a modern classic. This is up there, which is why when Molly mentioned it, even though it doesn't make a lot of the greatest lists, I'm like, no, this one needs to be on there. Just because we also needed one more for the 2000s, which is why I mentioned. I was like, we needed one more, so I put this one in, at least to make it all even. Mm-hmm. So Molly, what do you say?
I also give this an A. I like how there's a little bit of everything for everyone, because each of the stories kind of deals with a different type of thing. So it's just like,
this is the. I know this is weird because like I don't remember all. This is the one with those kids, right? The creepy kids who like in the costumes. And they're actually like, fuck. The creepy kids though, right? It's the one with the kids. There's kids involved, right? At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is one with kids involved.
Well, yes, it's.
Because they show the kids a lot because they're trick-or-treaters, but like I don't want to spoil the story because it's my favorite one.
I was say, like, yes, there are children.
I mean,
I'm laughing at the Creepshow reference that Snakz 92, the meteor shit.
Oh yeah, I actually wanted to put Creepshow in this list earlier on, but I just felt that it didn't really fit. And also, literally, there's enough. We can literally make another movie. The only thing that'll be missing is all the slashers, because almost all the slashers are here. But besides the slashers, we could make it a completely new list, and you wouldn't even tell that we left off classics. You know what I mean? Because we could just pick a whole new set of classics. Except for some of the ghost stories, I guess, because Molly kind of snuck almost all those in as well. But there's the ghost stories and the slashers are kind of all represented here, but there's tons of others.
Before I went in there, I was like, where the fuck are all the paranormal horrors?
Because I don't
that's
like
my stuff. That's what I like.
To be fair, like the very first...
That's what actually scares me.
I ended up taking out like 10 movies I had in originally overall, but the first list I made was just from memory, and I was just like, what are the movies that people always talk about that I've seen? And like, I know, like mind you, I was going to tell everyone else, like I was going to include stuff I didn't see too, but I just wanted, like, I was writing it myself, and then we got more involved. I started organizing it more. Human Centipede was on here at one point, but it was the last one I removed.
That one I'm not really gonna care to watch.
No, I would have given that an F, by the way.
Premise.
It's not because I liked it. I would have given that an F, but it's just because everyone talks about it. Spoiler alert, that would have been an F for me, dog.
Also, just for anyone that is watching, also recommend watching The Eye, but the original one, not the one with Jessica Alba, the original Hong Kong, Singapore version.
Yeah.
Sinister, as I said before, and Gremlins, and watch Antichrist if you want to watch a movie that's really going to make you just say, well, what the fuck the entire time.
Here's the list.
But Willem Dafoe's in it somehow.
Here's the list. I'm going to just freeze it here for a bit. If you want to yell at us, if you're here, we'll be off soon. If you yell at us anyway on Twitter or something, A to J Info. I'm Alavic_222. Someone tag us all. I got Molly's Marisuga with 2 eyes, and you can like yell at us there. If you're watching on YouTube, then you could definitely yell at us in the comments. I am sure you will, because a lot of our tier lists get a lot of like shit to this day, even ones we did last year. It's like our 5th tier list. We've done this, we've done Halloween candy, trick-or-treat candy I should say, and then we did Halloween costumes, and we've done fast food restaurants. Oh, everyone hated that one, but anyways,
that would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, everyone hated that one. I'll admit our choices were very controversial there. Let's put like I'll say this one thing: we gave Little Caesars an S. And like people were like, yeah, exactly. I'll just leave it there. We gave Little Caesars an S rank. I'm just leaving it at that. Wow. And everyone hated us.
Oh my!
Yeah, everyone got mad.
Little Caesars isn't bad, but it's not S rank.
I was gonna say, yeah, like I don't eat Little Caesars, but I'll get their chicken wings because they're like to go, and I crave chicken wings.
Like, crazy bread and ranch is pretty damn good, I will say.
But yeah, the people hated us because like, they were like, I'm not even going to read the rest of the list because you gave Little Caesars an S rank right away.
Oh my god.
So, yeah.
Like, I'm just going to find that VOD and scroll all the way to the end
the
to
list
see
was
what
bad.
the fuck you guys did.
So let's start wrapping this up. I kind of got to go, so I don't want to get too much in the closing stuff. I will say before I really start giving everyone a chance to close things off. Oh, everyone appeared in the right spot. I don't change any names. I'm not going to unfreeze myself either. I'll just take a new picture for my thumbnail later. But it was a lot of fun. If you want to catch us streaming some games on Thursday, I'm playing House on the Hill with Warren on Thursday. And on Saturday, Molly, myself, and like 4 other people were doing ZTL, Callie, Pleiades, and so on. Warren and Weston. I might as well name them all because I named a couple. We're doing the Drink Talk Learn. And then next Tuesday, we're doing the horrors of 2020, and we're wrapping up our Halloween special podcast. And then we're going to go back to our normal BS that we just talk about, like just normal BS. But yeah, the horrors of 2020, that's going to be fun. I almost want to change it because now I'm just like, that seemed like a fun idea back in September, but now the horrors are becoming a little too real. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Keep an eye out for next week. But yeah, anything else you guys want to add or say or anything, Jade, for starters? You have...
This was just a lot of fun. I love dorking out over horror movies.
I know.
So this was just a really fantastic evening for me. I'm glad that Molly had me on.
Yeah, I'm glad you were here. I'm also glad I didn't, because I was considering stopping it because like remember when we were halfway through, but we sped it up. We still got everything out and we still finished everything, and it turned out really well.
And it's not.
I think we just had more to say about the classics, anyways.
Yeah, I think that was true. Because like I don't think that we actually sped it up really. We just we were able to be more concise on our own. Yeah, we talk about The Exorcist and we just start talking for 10 minutes. But anyway, anything you wanted to add or say or whatever, close out, Jeff?
Not really. Molly, me, Eddie, and Christian just did our first episode of VO Gate Crashes, and we answered your question on there mainly because we wanted to get out of the way. Because like, yeah, well, I was gonna edit that today before I came in and did this, but then I decided to stay asleep and worth it. So actually, I'm gonna keep this up and I'm gonna film the intro before that. But thanks for having me. This was really fun. I honestly did not realize how much I loved horror movies
until you start talking about them.
Yeah, because like I didn't realize I had so many thoughts about these things, and then I'm like, oh no, yeah, you're right. There's a lot to say, and yeah, that's kind of it. Thanks for having me. Awesome. It was really fun.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining up. For watching live. We actually had I don't think we haven't dropped below like 15 in like over an hour, and that's insane because at one point we were like, I think a lot of people who stayed with Nyaru might have just stayed with us, but I don't think we've dropped below 10 ever since like we started. So that's not that that's too unusual. We've hit that before, but I rarely see it so consistently like across the whole podcast. So you guys had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. Thank you all for watching it.
Movies.
I know.
Yeah.
Molly, I didn't actually ask you. I was about to close it off. Molly, anything you want to add? You did. You added your favorite movies to watch. Anything else? Nope. Okay. But yeah, thank you.
I'm watching The Haunting of Hill House, and it's not as good as The Haunting of Hill House. That's all I have to say.
Oops. But thank you all for watching. You can follow us here, sub to us, Patreon us, whatever. I'm not going to plug it all, but all the links are there. If you know where to find them on Twitch if you want to do anything. So if you can't do any of the paying stuff, just follow us, watch our shit on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to us, please. That does us a lot, and like the video, comment on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining us, Jade and Geoff. It was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, not to say I was like, ooh, I don't know if they'll like fit in, but it was like, I'm like, I don't, 2 new people on this thing, I don't know, but it was perfect. Not 2 new people, but 2 like fresh faces to the podcast. We rarely get like half of them, Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here. Good night.
Thanks.
Take care of yourselves. And you guys stick around for one more second because we're gonna do a thumbnail. But everyone else, peace out. Good night.